All right, back in the studio, and today we have, you'll never guess, Steve Bolger. Back again by popular demand and the fact that we're on quarantine. So what the fuck, man? We got to hang out somehow. So we're in the studio. We have another bourbon tasting. I think it was actually the best bourbon tasting we've had so far. We also did a top 5. It was the top 5. I said Tom Hanks during the podcast. I almost did it again. But top 5 Tom Cruise movies, which we dived into way more than the top 5. But we had a lot of fun. We got our tongues twisted a little bit because we had too much bourbon. And at the end, I think we had the best moment of the podcast in the last 20 to 30 seconds. But we had a ton of fucking fun, and I hope you enjoy it. And without further ado, here's Steve. All right, another episode of Gathering with Fools, and we got Steve Bolger back in the studio again. I think he's becoming more than a regular.
And that's quite all right by me.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Steve is definitely the official bourbon taster of the podcast, and that means we drink a lot of bourbon every time he's on. How can I lose?
That's right. It's a win-win for you, and it's a win-win for me.
Yeah. And you're actually wearing the Gathering of Fools shirt today.
I am. Very nice shirt. High quality, soft. Dare I say my nipples are slightly erect.
That's actually my biggest thing when I was looking for shirts. I was like, I want a soft shirt. Because, you get so many of those shirts and they're just like rough. Yeah, I can't deal with it.
Yeah. You're scratching and
yeah, it never lays right.
Yeah.
No good.
Yep. No. High quality, recommend it. Everybody needs to get one.
Well, I do want to talk about what we're drinking first here, because for those of you that don't know, on a previous podcast, me and Steve were talking about Weller's Special Reserve, which is the green label, and we brought up how Bean was like, "Don't try it; it's absolute shit," and we laughed about it. Well, Bean was like, "It is shit. I'm gonna get it for you guys so you can taste it." So Bean did get it, and it is in the studio. So we're going to try it here.
And we appreciate his efforts, so we figure we got to taste it, right?
Yeah, we got to taste it when we had to give the update on the podcast, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, all right, well, cheers. And let's see how this plays out.
Cheers.
It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, it's... There's no real finish to it.
No.
It definitely comes off a little spicy at the end.
Yeah.
But it's, I mean, it would be one that I don't know that I would be looking for it.
No. I honestly don't even think I would purchase it again at the $25 MSRP. I mean, not that I purchased it this time. Bean did donate this, but... I'd much rather drink Benchmark for sure.
Right.
I really would. $10 bottle to a $25 bottle.
That's right. Yep.
To me, it's just like when you first took your first drink of regular alcohol. That's what it tastes like. Tastes like alcohol.
Yeah. Yeah. You get too much of that on the tongue, and it kind of overpowers it. I mean, there are some flavors that come on the back end. Maybe a little bit of caramel, a little bit of butterscotch.
Yeah.
That gives it that sweetness, but you can see why it's a screw cap and why it's their lowest end Weller that I'm aware of. Doesn't even compare to the Antique 107
no. Which we have on the table. We might end up dabbling in, but it's not in the tasting today. But I if I do get the sweetness, it's very mild for sure. It's not complex.
No.
Which is actually, I could say about the Benchmark too. The Benchmark I don't think is complex, but it has a good sweetness to it that makes it an easy everyday drinker.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, this might be adequate for an old fashioned. It would be something I'd probably give that a shot at.
Yeah.
And just kind of see what comes out of that. But yeah, I agree. I don't think I would be utilizing this as drinking on the rocks and kicking back.
Yeah. And And what's crazy is some people are paying like $75 a bottle for it.
Yeah, it is.
Just because the name Weller?
Just the name. It's all about the name.
Yeah. That's actually kind of like our friend Doug. He didn't want to try the benchmark just because it was the bottom shelf.
That's right.
But he did.
He did end up trying it, and he was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. It's not going to knock your socks off.
No.
It's just a good, cheap bourbon to have behind your bar. Everyday drinker.
For sure.
Have you tried it in old fashioned?
I have not. I did have it with a diet.
Okay.
And I actually really, really liked it.
Yeah.
So kind of my go-to with a diet is the Buffalo Trace.
Right.
But I also love Buffalo Trace in an old fashioned. Yeah, I mean, obviously a Diet Coke, that's going to overpower just about anything you put in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still do want to try it in an old fashioned though, the benchmark.
Yeah, I think it might make a good one because of that sweetness. I know you don't like a lot of sweetness in yours, so you might want to use a little less sugar than you normally do, but I think it would work well.
Yeah.
And speaking of Buffalo Trace, that one grows on me more and more. It's now, I had it on like the third shelf down on my collection. Now it's on like the second shelf. I put it ahead of Eagle Rare.
Yeah, you know what? I can't agree more.
Yeah.
It has climbed over the last month since they've come out with those fantastic 1.5 liter bottles.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, they've always had them, but
we've never saw them until recently. Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, I really like the look of that bottle. Let me get one. And it's just, I don't know what it is, but it has definitely climbed up the ladder for me as well. And I think it's because it does make such a good old fashioned.
Yeah. I still haven't gotten into the old fashioned aspect of drinking bourbon. I'm still just on the rock, or I have taken to drinking some neat now though.
Yeah,
I've been taking advantage of that. But the Buffalo Trace, I think it's a sweetness and it's got like a, for lack of a better term, like butteriness.
Yes,
like it's smooth in your mouth. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I don't know I swear to God, I had an epiphany. I texted you actually that I had an epiphany one time when I was drinking Buffalo Trace. I was like, hold on, I think I just really took another step on my palate. Like, hold on, what is all this going on?
Yeah, yeah. And that's really cool when that happens with the bourbon, because it's happened with one of the bourbons we're going to try tonight for me. So I think I think we'll get into that a little bit later. But I agree with you. I think the Buffalo Trace, dollar for dollar, is really one of the better bourbons out there. You can get a fifth for around $25, $28.
Yeah. It's a little hard to find, but it's not impossible, and just well worth the price. Sure. I mean, I'm paying almost $40 for Eagle Rare. I think it's like $32, $35. Yeah. And I like it better than Eagle Rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do too.
We are going to do a tasting. We're not going to do it right away, but we might as well go ahead and tell them what we're going to be tasting today. Obviously, the Weller was the first one, but that was just we had to do it.
Sure. So yeah, I'm really excited about all the bourbons, of course, as you know if you've listened to the first two podcasts. We're going to branch out and actually do a bourbon, or a rye, I should say, that is not from Kentucky. Surprise, surprise. It's actually from Park City, Utah. It's called West Double Rye. And what also makes this a little unique, it's something we haven't done yet, although we've talked about how there's kind of a move of blending whiskeys or blending bourbons. So this is a blend of two different ryes. I'll get into the details of it later when we actually taste it. So that is one that we're doing.
And that's really branching out for us, one, because it's not from Kentucky, and two, because it's actually not a bourbon. It is a rye.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the next one is Calumet Farm Kentucky Bourbon Whiskey, and it is a single rack, and it is aged 10 years. What makes this really unique is they only make it, so they call it single rack because there's only 19 barrels on the rack. So there's only 19 barrels.
Oh shit!
That consist of this whiskey, and I'll get into that later to give a little more detail, and then. You want to speak about the...
Yeah, I don't know nearly as much about them as you do, but we do have the new Riff Single Barrel, which is a newer distillery, if I'm correct. And...
That is correct. I believe only 10 years old.
Yeah, and it is a big boy bourbon. It's I think that one's running at about 113 proof.
Yeah.
I've already tasted it. Steve is not. I should say I haven't tasted either of the ones he brought either. And I enjoy it, so we'll get to that one. And then Old Forester, me and Steve realized after one of our podcasts that there were a lot more Old Foresters that we didn't know about. So we've been on the hunt.
Yes, we have. I think on that podcast we had talked about I think there's 3 and they actually make about a baker's dozen.
Yeah, they got quite a few.
Yeah.
So we were lucky enough to find one at a local store, and it is Old Forester Statesman. Steve just coughed, and I'll tell you why, because he was drinking that Weller Green Label.
Can you say regurgitation? It's all right, I'll power through it.
We'll get through this one glass. But the Old Forester Statesman, I don't remember the proof on it. I think it's in the 90s.
95.
And I, of course, had to sample it. Tommy actually brought it over this past weekend. So we dabbled into it. We didn't go crazy. So I'm excited to see what you think of that one.
Yeah, I can't wait to try it.
And, man, Bean's got a whole list of ones he's trying to get for us at the actual store here in town.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
A bunch more Foresters and the Woodford Rye.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited. He had what? Did he have Pikesville on that list?
I think he did.
Yeah. He found out he could try to order it. Doesn't mean it'll come.
Yeah.
Like, that's just the way it works.
Sure.
I was trying to get a regular whiskey as well. The what's that rye you like to make? Michter's.
Yes.
Michter's makes it's an unblended, but pretty much everybody calls it Michter's American. And I was watching a tasting online because I'm a nerd, and that was the only non-bourbon in there, and they were just raving about it. So figured try to give it a go.
Yeah. And just a real quick little story about Michter's. There's a famous, I think somewhat famous, people that know old fashions and know bourbon. There is a bar in Charleston called Husk. It's also a restaurant. And it has been written up in some magazines as kind of a speakeasy feel to it, really cool. And we went there last summer, and I took my oldest in, who was excited to try these old fashions with me. And the first one we got was kind of my go-to. I got the Bullet Rye.
Yeah.
Makes a really good old fashioned. And then I'm talking to the bartender, and I said, so what do you think makes the best old fashioned? And figuring this guy's got to be an expert, right? This is all he does.
Right.
And his was the Michter's Rye, and I can't remember if it was the 10, 12, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So we tried one of those, and I have to say it was excellent.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it was better than the Bullet Rye.
Yeah.
But it was certainly very good.
Yeah. We had at Garden Grill where I bartend at, hopefully still will. Hopefully they stay open. We had a lot of people that requested the Michter's Rye for the old fashioned.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like people like ryes for old fashions.
Yeah. I think if you like us, again, it's an offset of the sweetness depending on whether you're using simple syrup or sugar cubes. Some people they actually add maraschino cherry juice, which even makes it sweeter. So when you pick the rye and the spicier bourbons or ryes, it offsets that.
Okay.
So
yeah. I haven't really. The only rye I've really messed with at all was our favorite at Garden Grill, Pikesville.
Yeah.
And it was our favorite because, the price point was right for it where it was at. Like,
Right.
would you say most places probably charge around 15? We were charging like 12.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's excellent. I love that rye. So,
And I'm sure when you get back, it'll now be 20. If they happen to listen to this.
Right.
We're not pricing it right.
Yeah. Man, I do know the owner, and he might listen to it. He might actually come on the podcast soon. I figured it'd be cool to talk about the struggles of a restaurant during this this time.
For sure. And it could help other restaurant owners.
Yeah, for sure, because I think they've done a pretty good job. I don't know how much you're on Facebook, but I share all their stuff and what
I've seen it. Mm-hmm.
They've taken doing the creative every day, and then they, instead of doing individual meals for takeout, they're doing whole family meals.
That's a great idea because most people are bunkered in with their family.
Yeah, so it'll comes with a salad, a side, and the main entree.
Yeah,
I think that was an excellent idea.
Sure.
And they've been selling out of them, so hopefully things are going pretty decent. He didn't seem nervous about it when I did talk to him, so.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, I do want to get to the tasting, but we still have this, so maybe I'll go to this. You are a little bit of a fight fan, aren't you?
I am.
You like the UFC?
I do. I don't know nearly what you do.
Right. But did you see that they are going to be for sure putting on their next card? It's I don't know if it's next weekend or the weekend after. One, it's an incredible card, but what I really find interesting about it is I think it's going to be in Florida because Florida is deemed sports an essential business.
Okay.
And they also, I don't know if they bought the island or if they're renting the island, but we have Fight Island.
I did hear about that. I think it's such a cool idea. And it wasn't it Dana White that was going to buy the island? Or
I don't know if he bought it or rented it, but it's completely his idea. It's completely his doing. And so what his concept behind it is that I guess it's supposed to be like an international waters or something, so people can travel there. So his fighters that are not supposed to, go to the United States or go wherever, they can go there.
Yeah.
And he said they're putting hotels on it and putting a real infrastructure in it, and there's going to be an octagon on the beach. So it makes me think of like Jean-Claude Van Damme in Bloodsport.
Yes. Which was that the movie where
Kumite.
Okay.
The tournament where he gets the salt thrown in his eye in one of the last fights.
Yes.
He's fighting blind because he trained for that.
and the greatest thing about, well, I think a lot of his movies, but I think that one in particular, where they would do the super slow motion.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And
you can see his lips fluttering, sweat coming off of his.
Yeah, they did the super slow motion after he got the salt thrown in his eye. And he's like got his eyes like wide open. He's like, he can't see. When I act like an idiot like that and start moving, I wish we had cameras.
Yeah.
This is going to be a very, very visual podcast.
Bear with us here, please.
But weirdly, I that's one of my. I don't know why I love that movie. Bloodsport. He goes and it's a secret martial arts or just fight tournament, and to me, that's what Fight Island makes me think of.
Yeah. Well, there you go. So how quickly are they trying to put this together? If they're building,
well, the Fight Island, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But let's see if we can find. Yeah, he's looking it up now. I'm not. Dana's fight will be up and running. Let's see. Fight Island.
By June.
And they're literally calling it Fight Island. Yep, by June.
Wow.
That's crazy. Like, you're building a hotel, it's going to be a shitty hotel.
Yeah, I would think so. It's going to be a hojo. No offense, Howard Johnson fans.
And I don't think I'm wondering about the capabilities of running water. Like, it's just like, no, people are going to bring you water. You're going to take baths. Yeah, it's going to be fine.
Just go in the ocean.
We put bleach in there every once in a while. It's cool.
Be aware of Montezuma's revenge.
Yeah. But I'm maybe more excited to see Fight Island than I am just about UFC coming back. Like, I want to know what Fight Island was all about. You know, it's going to be a documentary too.
Sure.
There's no way it's not going to be a documentary.
Yeah, it has to be. And is this? I'm just curious. So, was the island? Did it have any infrastructure at all? I mean, is this just a completely vacant island?
I honestly have no clue. I really don't know. Where is? Yeah, that's a good question. Where is Fight Island?
So it looks like in May they're planning on four different events.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They're going to start pumping them out. Well, if Florida's going to let them do it, they're just going to go crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, think about it. They're going to be the only sport.
Yeah.
There's no other sports that are going to be playing at that time.
Yeah. The only other thing I've heard of that they're talking about starting in May, I believe, is NASCAR, but with no fans in the stands.
Yeah, which is what UFC is going to do.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's going to be no fans. Fight Island latest, where's it at? He might not even have told anybody yet. Is that it? Because if that's a picture of it,
wow.
If that's a picture of it, then there's nothing there.
No. Just a lot of trees.
Beautiful water though. That's a lot of beautiful ocean. It's very clear. You can see the coral through the picture in the sky.
That's really ballsy for a lot of reasons, but I think mainly because you have put a lot of people on the same island that I'm sure there's some radical groups out there like, hey, here's our chance. Let's go bomb them.
Yeah, or even just pirates. Like, this is the the what are they, Somali pirates?
Yeah.
Like, this is just the easiest target ever.
Yeah.
But I'm still so excited for it. I just can't imagine what it's possibly going to be. And then you know what's going to happen? I just thought about. He's going to end up making money off this forever, because if he gets it up and running and everything, that's where the Ultimate Fighter reality show will end up being. It'll be on Fight Island.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
It's a great idea.
God, that's exciting.
Maybe they can somehow merge if they do the like Fight Island documentary or Fight Island reality show. Merge that with like Bachelor in Paradise.
Right, they just let them like they rent the island to film their show, and the bachelors have to fight each other.
Yes,
I'm in for this.
Well,
I might finally watch The Bachelor.
I think we have just given ABC and Dana White their next big tip.
Yeah, I think we have. Or it could be like that old what's that really old Ice-T movie where they hunt people? I forget what it's called. It's an old movie.
I just saw a movie. I mean, and it was supposed to be out in theaters.
Okay.
Called I believe it's just called The Hunt. Mm-hmm. Just exactly about that.
Yeah.
You know, people hunting people.
There was an old Ice-T movie with that, Surviving the Game.
Oh yeah. 1994.
1994.
Rucker Hauer.
and actually, if Steve doesn't know about it, that lets you know how bad of a movie it was. I don't know how I saw this.
Well, I'm thinking I probably watched it and then I immediately forgot about it.
Gary Busey.
Well, it's not a movie if Gary Busey isn't in it. For heaven's sakes.
Oh, man.
What a disaster he is.
Talk about a guy that lost his mind. And you know that was a motorcycle wreck, right?
Yeah.
That changed it all?
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Oh, man. How are we looking? Think we're getting souped up for the tasting?
I think so.
This is actually going to be terrible. One, I got to try to deal with these dogs in some fashion. Also, I may have had a bourbon or two before you guys got here, and I already have to piss. So
as Jim Gaffigan would say,
and for all you future sponsors out there, this is the perfect chance for an advertisement.
Right.
Yep. All right, and we're back, and I wasn't aware of this when we were tasting it, but when me and Steve were tasting the Weller Green, Jacob was also tasting it. Jacob, your thoughts?
It's bad. It just kind of tastes normal. That's all I can really...
Right, it tastes like alcohol.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I feel about it. Like, if you're really looking for it, I think Steve was trying to find it. You can find some notes and stuff in there, but to me, it does. It tastes like alcohol.
Yeah, yeah. They try and, it's like perfume on a pig. They're like, oh, butterscotch, caramel.
Yeah.
It's so delicious. Screw cap.
Like, I feel like maybe they threw like one Werther's original butterscotch candy in the whole barrel.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We're not going to be high on Weller's list.
No. But we love your Antique 107.
Yes, and the
love
black
it.
label. It's the best.
I even though it's not its MSRP, I would pay $100 for the black label. I would.
Yeah.
So if somebody's got the black label out there, I will pay $100 for it.
I don't like it better than Blanton's, but it's right there.
Yeah.
It's very close.
So we are going to get to the tasting. One thing I did forget to mention, I took it to a nerd level again. And Steve was saying in one of the podcasts about how in Kentucky they have the limestone water and it's supposed to bring out the flavors more. And then I also saw it in a documentary that I watched called Neat, which, by the way, did you watch it?
Not yet.
Nah, I knew it.
I don't have Hulu.
Oh, you don't have Hulu?
No.
Oh, we got to fix that.
We got Netflix. We have Amazon Prime. And I almost bit the bullet the other day, and I hear a voice in the background. Well, we don't need Hulu.
We do, just for this documentary, if nothing else.
Yes.
Cancel it right after.
Before the next podcast, I will watch it.
Yeah. Just do the free first month.
There you go.
So anyway, so they were talking about the limestone water on the documentary as well, and so I decided to go online and see if I could buy this limestone water bottled, and turns out I could.
Yes.
So now for the tastings, instead of us trying to figure out how we're going to pour water in it, I now have a little eyedropper thing with a container, and we will just be able to squeeze it right in there.
Right. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Well, I got a problem. All right, so what are we starting off with here?
Okay, so we're going to start off with a High West Double Rye, and I did already speak a little bit about it right at the beginning. It is 93 proof. And it is from Utah, and it is an actual blended rye. So blended rye whiskey, and I know right away some of you are like, blended? All right, turn it off. That's it. We're done with these assholes.
It's crazy how some people are against that, especially when it comes to scotch. They're like, it's not a scotch if it's blended.
Right. And I was there. I was one of those people.
Yeah.
Not so much from the scotch perspective, but like, no, we're not doing blended whiskeys. Come on, what are you, crazy? So this has changed my entire outlook. It is extremely reasonable, and once you taste it, I think you'll realize it's even more reasonable. Roughly $35.
Yeah,
a bottle,
and it's actually a lot cheaper than their other products.
Yeah, they have a lot. High West puts out probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 10 or 12 different ryes.
Yeah,
they're all ryes, but they have Campfire and Rendezvous and a lot of others, and most of which are all blended, but they're typically 50-ish.
Yeah, I think we have them. I think we have them $59.99 at the liquor store here, and then that one came in at $39.99.
And I've tried the Campfire, I've tried the Rendezvous, and they're considerably more, and I like this one better.
Yeah.
So the beauty of it is it gives you sweetness but spiciness, and it's just real smooth and easy to drink. So of course I'm a little bit biased already, as you can hear, but the blending. That's a cool story, and I just want to touch on that very quickly. They take a 2-year-old rye, and they blend it. They originally blended it with a 16-year-old rye. Well, the 16-year-old rye, based on its age, became less and less viable to be able to use and keep it at this price point. So in
I'm sorry, did you say a 16-year-old rye?
Yes.
Jesus.
I know. So in 2018, they decided that they could no longer keep that same exact blend because the 16 was just too scarce.
Yeah.
So they decided to go with a 7-year that Utah itself makes right there at the distillery. The 2-year, I believe they get from a distillery out of Indiana. And the 7, they modeled exactly after the 16 and how that distillery made it. And they feel like they had the flavor and everything exactly to where they wanted it to be. And I can tell you, I started drinking this probably in 16. So I've had some of the others. Mm-hmm. This that we're trying tonight is a 19. And how you can tell is there will be 6 digits on the front of the bottle. And if the first 2 are an 18 or higher, then you have the new recipe.
Okay.
If it's anything older or previous to the 18, then you have the old recipe.
Yeah.
But I can tell you, I couldn't tell a difference. And some of the reviews I've read from some people that do this for a living said the same thing.
Oh, nice.
So it's just
seems kind of crazy because it's such an age difference.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. It really is. So I guess we should give it a try.
Yeah.
I probably said too much already.
No. I just keep looking at those dogs like behave. Pam's not helping.
Which is really hard for me.
Oh, that's excellent. You get a lot of sweetness on the nose.
You really do. And there's some honey and vanilla in there for sure.
Yeah. I definitely get the honey.
The other thing I get, obviously it's spicy. It's a rye.
Yeah.
It's going to be spicy. But there's a little bit of cinnamon in there too, I think. It's got a nice long finish. That's the other thing that I'm impressed with. But the whole point of it is it's supposed to be spicy. So double the rye, they say kind of on their mantra on this particular batch is double the spice.
Okay. Well, and it's got a nice like butteriness to it too.
Mm-hmm. So I would like to try
The water.
Yeah, let's do a little.
Yeah, for sure. Get the limestone water in there. I almost said Keystone. It's just water from PA. Don't worry about it. I actually just drove across the bridge and just dunked this in the river.
It smells like the river. Tastes like rye whiskey.
Tastes like rye whiskey. Oh. It brings out some of the spiciness on the smell. Like maybe that's cinnamon, actually.
Yeah. And it's amazing how quickly it just rounded off the edges, where I got a lot more heat in my nose the first time. After a few drops of water, that totally went away.
Man, and it took
Totally.
and it took some of the bite away, like a lot of the bite away, just from the drink as well.
Yeah. And even though it's around 35 and you would say, oh, okay, I can maybe, do an old fashioned with or whatever. I just won't do it because I just like it neat or with a little bit of water or a cube. I feel like I'm wasting it if I don't have it that way.
I think that's actually why I still haven't gone to like old fashions period yet, because I should try that with the larceny actually, because most of them I like so much that I don't want to mess with it.
Right.
I'm such a fan of what it is that it's hard for me to mess with, but I am not a fan of that larceny, so maybe I should give that a go.
I can't disagree with that, but I do like an old fashioned so much that. And it's fun to try the old fashioned with different types of bourbon to just see just to see what you like and what comes of it. I mean, I do prefer my old fashions with rye, but we just talked about it at length earlier. I mean, the Buffalo Trace is not a rye, and it makes an absolute fantastic old fashioned.
I think it's because oddly, even though it's one of their lower rung bourbons, that Buffalo Trace is it's got a lot going on.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yeah.
It catches me by surprise all the time.
It does.
But I'm pleasantly surprised by this. I think I might like the Pikesville more.
Yes,
but
I'm not going to disagree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, but this is excellent. This will definitely get added to the collection. I tell you, we sold out like what is it? High West?
High West.
High West. We've had all those other bottles in there for a long time, and the Double Rye we sold out of. We're on our second case of it already.
Wow.
Yeah.
And again, that's people that, for the price point, they're like, well, why am I going to spend $55 on a Campfire High West?
Right.
When this Double Rye is even better and it's $20 less or just as good.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really excellent. This will definitely get added to the collection without a doubt. Well worth the price point. Yeah.
I'm glad you like it. Okay.
I might have to put this dog out on the chain. She can't handle it. I'm sure everybody can hear her
anyone
crying.
Hearing that in the background, they'd be like, oh, that's just Steve really enjoying his bourbon.
Yeah. Or they think that I'm just beating a dog under the table. All right, rinse this sucker out, huh?
Okay, so the next up, Calumet Farm. I brought it up earlier. Single rack.
This is the dump bowl here,
black.
Right?
It is 92 proof. And part of the reason why it is at its price point, which is $60.
Is it? Man, I think we have it for more than that. I think it's $79.99.
Wow. Okay. Oh, you can find it online for $60.
Okay.
I didn't realize that. I was this was a gift, so of course, hey, how much you pay for this?
Yeah, you don't ask that question.
One of the things I was trying to find, and I can't find it on any of the labels, is that I believe that this is. Here we go. I believe there's some connection to Heaven Hill Distillery with this.
Oh,
which
okay.
Heaven Hill makes Henry McKenna, and I'm drawing a blank, but
Pikesville.
Thank you.
Yeah,
They make larceny.
Yeah. That's I
Let's
try
not
to
get him started on larceny.
I try not to judge them for that bourbon because I love Henry McKenna so much. I'm actually super intrigued to try this because it's something that's always caught my eye, but it was so hard for me to justify spending the money, the $70 on that when I have so many that I love that are below that, and so many I still have to try below that.
And it's a cool bottle. It really is. I mean, it's got an odd shape. There isn't anything, any other bourbon that I know of that's shaped the way it is. It's almost kind of reminds you a little bit of a Crown Royal bottle.
A little bit. I would say it's also almost hardish, like a heart.
Yeah.
Hardish. That's not a real thing, is it? Go ahead.
Nope.
I'm excited to try it. The 10-year. I don't know if that's the one we had at Garden Grill, but I never even tried it at Garden Grill, even though the owner probably would have bought it for me. But
so there is a 12.
Okay.
And there's a single rack 12, and I'm not sure the cost on that one, but obviously it's going to be more.
Right.
And I believe it's same sort of setup where it's only like 19 barrels because it's a single rack as well.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I'm excited to try it.
All right,
Calumet, is that how you say it?
Yes.
Oh, it's good on the nose. A little sweetness to it.
Mm-hmm. So much different than what we just had, isn't it?
A lot easier to hold in your mouth for a minute.
Yeah. Definitely taste the oak. It's got it.
Definitely got the
Got
oak.
a little bit of spice to it too.
A little bit of spice. It's actually really smooth.
And you know what I get out of there too, and I'm going to do a second, is mint.
Mint.
Yeah. It's on the back of my tongue. I get some mint out of there.
I don't think I'm getting the mint right now. Maybe with the water. There's definitely other stuff going on, but again, your palate's more trained than mine so far. I just had a revelation like a week ago, and it was my first one.
Pull that back up again. Real
Yeah,
quick.
let's see
There
what
we
it
go.
says on there. It's toasted honey and oak. I definitely get the honey. I definitely get the oak.
Yeah.
Definitely the oak. Rich nose. Yes, a lot of sweetness on the nose, just
Yep.
like I said. It says nose.
Burst of toasted honey and oak.
Finish, a long, lively, captivating finish, revealing all flavors. Okay, well, that didn't say shit.
But I mean, all in all, it's funny how we were talking about Buffalo Trace. So when I first got it and tried it, I was like, and I think my expectations were too high. Now, as you can see, I've got less than half a bottle, probably a third.
Yeah, you definitely.
I've enjoyed it. Each time I try this bourbon, I like it that much more.
Yeah.
And I feel like once I get to the end of this bottle, I'm going to be like, nah, maybe I will get another one. I think the price point might be
I think maybe a little high.
a little high.
Not terrible,
no
though.
doubt.
I don't think it's terrible
No.
because it is good. I was actually pleasantly surprised. I'm not gonna lie. I had low expectations even with the price point. Just because, I've never heard of Calumet. I don't know a lot of people that. I don't know a lot of people that have talked to me about that distillery. You know what I mean? So I had low expectations, but it's surprisingly good.
Yeah, I think so too. The actual bottle says that it is Bowling Green, Kentucky, but again, I believe that there is some sort of connection with Heaven Hill. Maybe Heaven Hill has purchased that distillery.
Because that's what happened with Larceny
Yeah, and Pikesville.
and Pikesville.
Mm-hmm. Heaven Hill, Pikesville was originally made in Maryland, and they purchased the recipe, and then brought it in to Kentucky and then make it there.
Nice.
Yeah.
Heaven Hill, maybe tough to say, but I think I'm going to say it. I think Heaven Hill so far is probably my second favorite distillery to Buffalo Trace.
Yeah.
It's crazy how good Buffalo Trace is. The products they make is insane.
It's amazing.
They're actually a sponsor on the Joe Rogan podcast now.
Wow. Why can't we get them as a sponsor?
Yeah. Well, we got to get 1 million downloads each episode. What the fuck? I'll tell you what.
At least Jefferson's. Come on.
Yeah, you
step up.
You liked our Instagram post. I did want to say to you though, after adding the water, even just the smell.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm necessarily getting the mint, but I'm getting something definitely mint-like. It might be mint, and I think it would actually make a amazing mint julep. Yep, I think it would.
Yeah,
I think it would.
Yeah,
perfect Kentucky Derby bourbon right there.
No doubt, and it has the horse on the bottle, which is kind of cool. On the label on the top.
Oh yeah. Now I think I am. After that drink with the water, I think I'm picking up a little mint on the end. Without a doubt, it would definitely make a great mint julep. I think it would even make a good. Even though mojitos are made with rum, I also think it would make a good mojito.
Pam likes to refer to that drink as the floater drink.
What, the mojito?
Yeah,
because of all the
too much stuff floating in that drink. You have too much stuff floating in that drink.
Well, listen. Sometimes you have to get some of those flavors to coincide together. You got to muddle it sometimes. I do not agree with muddling an old fashioned, though. I don't agree with that at all.
So, the way I make an old fashioned is I have a cube. So I have,
sugar cube.
Right.
Yeah.
So I have to muddle the initial part of it because I put a cube in the glass and then maybe let's call it 4 to 6 drops of bitters.
Right.
And you saturate that cube and then I gotta muddle that.
That part I understand.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the cherry and orange peel. No, you don't muddle that.
You don't.
No.
and too many people do that, and shame on you.
Yeah, I hate to say it. That's how Garden Grill wants you to make the old fashioned, but people don't want it.
No,
and for good cause. Sure. I understand trying to do your own maybe twist on it, like, hey, check this out. But an old fashioned is too classic. You gotta let that go.
You do. Yeah. And I mean, it's just it's going to overpower the drink. Now you're making it sweeter than it should be. It's the orange has totally taken over any flavor of anything else,
right? Because
you've muddled it in there.
Yeah, and even the what are they called? Luxardo cherries.
Luxardo.
They that should really just be. You should be using those, by the way, not just the regular Marciano cherries if you can get them.
Yes.
But it should really be just the one cherry with just a little drop or two that's coming out of that spoon while you're putting the cherry in there.
Yeah, and let me just real quick go on a little side note of the Luxardo cherries because I am such a huge believer in it. So when I first started drinking old fashions and I just got it the way they served it, I never really cared for just the regular maraschino cherry in it.
Yeah,
and in some cases felt like it made it too sweet, but it just seemed like it was candy in the drink. And then I can't remember where, but wherever they had this really dark black cherry. Talking to the bartender, and he's like, "Oh yeah, those are Luxardo cherries." I didn't even understand what he said. I was like, "Joe Leonardo cherries? The hell? He's making brackets, and now he has his own kind of cherry?
This is some bullshit. Yeah. I am not expanding my businesses enough."
So of course, did a little research. I find out they're out of Italy. Order some online on Amazon, which you should still be able to get. Shockingly, I just got some myself about 3-4 weeks ago.
Well, Manhattans and old fashions are essential.
Yes. Essential. I believe that must be why. But they're not cheap. They're roughly $13.50 a bottle.
Yeah, they're definitely expensive. And it's probably the comparison of like $5 for Marciano cherries. Yeah.
But it is well worth it. You get quite a few. The other beauty of it is you do not have to refrigerate them. 6 months they'll last, which
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And it was just through my research. They're like, you do not want to because the company that makes them, jars them, feels that it impedes the flavor.
Okay.
of the cherry.
Yeah.
So they suggest you keep them on the shelf, and
Oh,
I have
shit.
done that, opened it up, and have kept them, and they're absolutely fine.
Well, I'm definitely gonna switch that at Garden Grill when I get back there then, because we keep them in the cooler and we go through them so fast that there's no need to.
No.
And the weird thing about Garden Grill, beautiful bar. You've been there.
Sure.
Beautiful bar. Love the place. I'll work there till I'm 70 as long as I can climb that ladder. But there's not a lot of cooler space in there. So it'd be nice to just have one less thing in there.
Sure. Rinsing my glass.
Yep, doing a little
My
rinse.
Glencairn.
Which, by the way, I'm going to buy more of these so that we can actually have like 4 at a time. A piece.
They do, and I know we were talking about this too. So they have like a wider Glencairn.
Well, that's like the Jack Daniels one I have,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I don't like those as much.
No, I
I
don't. either.
really much prefer this. Actually, I did a tasting at my house a couple of weekends ago, just like 3 or 4 of my buddies, because everybody's been locked up for so long, and I just kept washing these 2 Glencairns for people.
Oh, I got a little heavy with your pour. Sorry. So
It's all right. We'll figure it out.
So the next up is something I'm super excited about. It is the Old Forester Statesman. And
Old Forester Statesman. Oh, he's reading.
yep.
He's really into
Sorry.
it. That's right. I'm going to throw it in here just before we taste it. This says it has it's obviously amber, but nose, aroma, smell, clove, chocolate, coconut, vanilla. I'm intrigued by that coconut. Flavor, taste palette, leather, brown, butter, cinnamon, and grapefruit. Isn't it weird that we like something that so often is compared to leather?
Yes.
I'm going to start chewing on coats.
And there's a story behind the name, and I apologize because I knew it at one time a couple weeks ago when I ordered one for myself. That hasn't come yet. Thank you, COVID.
Jacob, you want to see if you can find the story to Old Forester Statesman?
But it is obviously from the last tasting, you know what affinity we have for Old Forester 1920. We really loved it. Much higher proof.
Much higher proof, and I do it. But to me, it's got that higher proof. And actually, Jeff Summers was in the liquor store the other day, and he said it makes sense because the alcohol carries the flavor more than water, which does make sense. But it's also then weird that you add water and you get more of it.
Yeah,
But he did say you got to find the perfect balance.
that's right.
But it to me, it packs so much flavor. The 1920. So I haven't done an actual tasting with this. I've just drank it on a rock. So I'm actually excited for this.
So try to go to their actual site, Old Forester site.
That would be it there. Got to make sure you're 21 to be on a website.
I don't think he is. What? Just turned 16 a couple weeks ago?
Yeah. Well, listen, man, I got to get
Child labor.
I got to get free help. That's why he's my co-creator. That way, if I ever make money, he makes money. The smell's got a decent amount of, what is it, ethanol to it?
Yeah. Not real impressed with the smell so far.
No.
Doesn't mean I'm not going to like it.
There's definitely a sweetness behind it, but there's a lot of alcohol in the smell.
Right away, I'm saying this is the old-fashioned bourbon.
Old-fashioned, definitely on a rock. Let it sit there for a minute and absorb some of the water.
Not something I think I'm going to be drinking neat.
No, it's not. It's definitely, it's a letdown. It's a letdown.
Mm-hmm.
I would say it's not as bad as the Weller that we tried today, the green label.
And I forgot to give the price point on that, but I believe it's $60.
Really?
That's-
It's at least $54.99. Actually, I know
Okay.
that for a fact. It is. Yeah.
Okay. I think that's what I paid for online, which, you're never going to get a good deal online. Sometimes.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say never.
Well, that's the thing. You got to find online. I feel like you got to find the bourbons that you're willing to pay for. They're
Right.
rare enough that you're willing to pay an extra $5, $10, $15 a bottle.
Yeah, because plus they're
$56.99.
They're tacking shipping on it too.
Yeah. It's
But it is. I'm it is a slight disappointment so far.
Yeah. I'm actually a little disappointed now that you put this much of it in this Glencairn.
I'm sure you'll power through it, or you can just.
Well, I'm gonna put a little bit on my rock.
I was just gonna say,
put a little bit on my rock that way.
I'm gonna do that too,
because I'm worried about not getting the effects of the water because I still had so much in there.
No, don't get carried away. We have movies to get to.
Yeah. Well, oddly, I feel like the water added more alcohol smell to it. Did you get the same?
You know, and the thing that's so upsetting about this is I've been waiting for this bottle to be delivered for about 3 weeks. Like, so excited about it. And now that I get a chance to try it, maybe I'll just refuse the shipment.
I was gonna say,
Problem is, I've already paid for it.
it's like I just ruined Christmas for you.
However, I'm excited because I really do think that this will do very well in an old fashioned. Now, do I want to have a $57 bottle of
just
bourbon
for old fashions?
No, I don't.
But I agree with you. I think it will work out well with it's definitely a mixer. You want a $67 bottle of bourbon for Diet Coke.
Yeah.
It is unfortunate. It's really unfortunate. I'm really intrigued. Hopefully we get some of those other ones in the store because honestly, their regular old Forester I think is better.
Yeah, it could be.
Have you had their regular old Forester?
I have. It's been a while, but I had it when we went there, and it was I mentioned it on the podcast. One of the people in our group went over, brought it back because I was like, nah, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
And then I tried it, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, you know what? Hold on. Pam is out playing with the dogs. I'm going to have her bring that bottle in.
Okay.
Hey, Pam, can you grab the old Forester bottle off the bottom shelf? I think we should try that real quick because I do think that's unfortunate for you because you just got one coming in the mail.
You take the good with the bad. You know there's going to always be a bourbon that you have high expectations for, and it just never meets them.
Yeah, it's true. It is true. It definitely happens.
And I can say that on a consistent basis with Whistle Pig. Although I did finally have one, and it was the 10-year rye where...
actually, you just telling me about that.
It met its expectations.
So you're willing to pay the $80 for that one?
Yes.
Just a little bit for that one because we still have another tasting. We're pouring the regular old Forester just to get a comparison.
86 proof. And by the way, that old Forester Statesman was 95.
Yeah.
So this one, the regular one, is 86. Kind of a squatty bottle. Looks a little bit like
it even has a better nose.
Yeah, it does.
It's also $18. Yeah.
Yeah, it's better. There's just no doubt about it.
No.
$18 versus 60 or 57.
Yeah. It's without a doubt better.
The other thing that I've talked to a few people that have had it. I have not, but I hear it's really, really good. If you find it, they have 1897, and it's bottled in bond, which means it's 100 proof.
In glass bottle.
Yeah.
Government. Yeah. Which E.H. Taylor started.
Yeah.
Yeah. You get that? I got that in the documentary. You probably got it at the tour.
I did.
I'm add a little water to this. You drank it.
Wow.
It's so much better.
And you can see the $18 because the finish, it doesn't linger as long as what some of these higher end bourbons do.
Yeah.
But still very flavorful, really drinkable.
Really drinkable. It's a lot better than the Statesman.
It is.
It really is. That's unfortunate.
It is unfortunate, and it goes to show you a lot of these distilleries, and especially in the last 10 or 15 years, they come out with these labels. They put different names on them. I hate to say it's a marketing ploy, but it's just a way to sell more bourbon.
Yeah.
And they kind of get crazy with their mash bills and trying this, trying that.
I feels like they went too crazy.
I think so.
They made something weird.
They did. Now, I will continue to try it. I mean, I have no choice because I'm getting a bottle.
Right. It's not just going to disappear.
Yeah, much like the Calumet. I didn't like it at first. Of course, I had it, so I tried it again down the road, and it has grown on me.
Yeah, I get that. So far, I'd say what's weird is I had this one, but we had it on a rock, and I might have let it sit there for a little while. And I was like, oh, this is pretty good. I'm speaking about the Statesman. And so I was kind of excited for this tasting. I was holding it back, and then we actually smelled it and tasted it, and I was like, no, definitely not.
Yeah. and that's one of the beauties of doing a tasting where you're having other bourbons with it, because then you're putting it up
right against other things.
Yeah. And then it kind of, for the most part, gives you an idea of, is this bourbon really what I thought it was?
Yeah.
Is it better than what I thought it was, or is it shit?
I do think that it is a little bit better than that Weller we had at the beginning.
I do. I definitely agree with that.
But it's not worth the price.
No,
it's not. I might not tag Old Forester in this podcast post. Although we did talk up their regular basic one, and we love 1920.
That's and I'm sure everything else is spectacular.
Honestly, 1920 is probably in my top 4 or 5. It packs a lot of flavor.
Oh, I love it. I absolutely love it, and I can't wait to try the 1897.
Oh yeah. I hope those come in.
Yeah.
It'd be better if I was back at work, but I'll find a way to get them. Probably Tommy. Tommy comes over and drinks all the bourbon. For those that don't know, you guys heard Tommy Two Phones on the last one, but Tommy Two Phones has become a massive bourbon addict. He has some at his house, but really he adds to my collection because we drink bourbon together every weekend.
That's a good thing, because he needs to get his bourbon legs. You know, our last podcast together with Tommy, towards the end of the podcast, I'm pretty sure I could have jammed a knife in his leg like
on Talladega Nights.
Yeah, and he would have not felt it.
For sure. We went over to my mom's house after the podcast because some people were hanging out over there. And Tommy immediately was like, what kind of fucking music are you listening to? This music sucks. And grabbed the remote.
Meanwhile, he's got both hands full of chips and vegetables and crackers. Just crumbs following him on a trail through the kitchen.
Yeah, he was. By the end of it, he was pretty drunk. It was so much fun, though.
Yeah.
He Bean, he's an avid listener to the podcast. It's one of the reasons he donates so much of his time to getting us these bourbons. But he said, "Wow, Tommy got pretty drunk there at the end, huh?"
I have heard the same from a few friends. They're like, wow, Tommy was really wasted towards the end. And they still had 30 minutes to go. Because at some point, I don't even think he was responding to anything.
Oh, man. No, at one point, he dove into his phone, but the best was his Rudy. He went in on Rudy.
Like 1,000%. I mean, on the verge of tears. He was sweating. I didn't know if it was sweat or tears. I wasn't sure.
Yeah. All I know is I had a lot of fucking fun. I was dying. And I was dying when I listened to it, too. It was so great. Oh, that guy. He's something else.
Yes.
I feel like, so Joe Rogan has a good friend that's, he's crazier than Tommy. He's had a crazy past, but his name's Joey Diaz. And I feel like he's this podcast, Joey Diaz.
Well, I will be more than happy to join that trio again. Should you so choose.
Oh, yeah. I was actually thinking about trying to find a name for the three of us when we do our podcast, like the Three Amigos, something like that. Because, the Chevy Chase, Martin Short.
Martin Short, Steve Martin.
Yep. We're all movie fanatics. Seemed like a good fit.
Yep.
All right, so now we're on the new Riff, which I don't think either of us know a bunch about. What do you know about it?
I really don't know much other than it's newer. We brought up earlier, only about 10 years old, and they do their whiskey without, or bourbon without cold filtering.
Which I don't really know.
So all I can say is it's something that, of course, these newer distilleries during this bourbon boom are trying different things to set themselves apart. So I can't answer why or how many other bourbon distilleries don't do it.
Yeah.
But it's a very common thing, and it is normally how bourbon is made. However,
it's just not one of the requirements.
Right. It isn't.
Yeah.
So you got those stock 5 requirements, and how you filter it is not one of those.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's where a lot of the places figure, okay, well, we can try this, we can try that. It has to be aged a certain amount of years, has to be an oak barrel, has to be 51% corn, has to at least be, I believe is it 90 proof? No, I can't even. No, I think it's 80. It's 80.
It's got to be 80.
Yeah, it's got to be at least
Basil
80.
Hayden's benchmark.
Right.
Actually, even that Forester we just tried was 86, right?
Oh, and I'm glad you brought up Basil Hayden, because I did want to mention, as we were talking about old fashions, that the Basil Hayden rye, the dark rye that they've come out with,
The dark rye, not the Caribbean rye.
the dark rye. I haven't had the Caribbean rye in an old fashioned, but the dark rye I think makes a really good old fashioned.
Yeah. I'm actually, not that Basil Hayden's is bad, but I'm trying to drink my way through that Basil Hayden's. I get a lot of maple on the nose. Is there maple in there? I don't see any maple
No
on the tasting
maple. As
notes.
a matter of fact, I thought I saw it said something there where it said, "Dave, there is no maple."
Oh, there it is in the corner there.
Yeah. Sweet vanilla.
I swear it's maple. I do, but the same thing with the old Forester 1920, and they said no maple on there either.
So, okay, so it's funny because it says, obviously, right on the front of the bottle, barrel proof, which is an interesting thing because a lot of distilleries are coming out with barrel proof stuff, and what that basically means is when they pluck it out of the barrel, whatever proof that is, that's the proof.
Right.
Most places will then take it and then still add a little bit of water to it to bring that proof down.
Right.
To get it in the 90 to 100
Make
range.
it more tolerable.
Yes. And then it says without chill filtration. And it is, Newport. Newport, Kentucky.
Oh, it is in Kentucky?
Yes.
I'll be honest. I do like it. It's definitely different than a lot of the ones I like. I do definitely get the rye. I do definitely get the clove that it has listed on there. But I am a fan.
It's different, and I think I'm a fan because it's different. And the other thing I get out of this that I really like, because I like black pepper, is definitely I get that pepper.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think of that. That's for sure.
And
I can actually smell the pepper.
This is another one, and I think the price point, because between 55 and 60.
It's either 50 or 60.
Okay.
On the dot. It's one of the two.
So it might be one where you're like, I don't know if I want to make an old fashioned, but I'd like to just once.
Just to try.
Try it.
Yeah. But I'll be honest. I don't mind paying the 50 or 60 bucks for this one.
No, this is and it's a really cool bottle. I love this.
It's a beautiful bottle. I had my eye on it for a long time, but I had some people telling me bad things, some people telling me good things, and then Tommy came in one time and he was like, and here's an extra $40 just buy whatever bourbon, and then he left, and I was like, yeah, well, I'll throw another 20 on it. I think it is 60 because I think I threw another 20.
Yeah. So, again, this is one of those that I like to refer to as a big boy bourbon.
Definitely big boy.
113.4. I'm going to say for anyone out there that I recommend that you try it.
Yeah, I would
Because
definitely
I think
say try it.
it's unique. It's a little different than anything we've had tonight. And it might be because they don't do the chill filtration. I don't know. But it's got a lot of flavor.
It does. It's packed full of flavor. It's a trip for your mouth for sure. The all right, if you had to list them. Oh yeah, we didn't even try the water yet. Actually, we must really like it because we didn't even try the water. Actually, we should try the water before we list them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the great thing about this new Riff, and I don't know much about it, but I gotta think that they're probably, they're only 10 years into it, so I gotta think they're dabbling into a lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
They're going to come out with some stuff that's aged a lot longer.
Right.
I think when I read about this, I want to say it's aged around maybe 5 or 6 years.
Actually, it says aged at least 4 years on the back of the bottle.
Okay.
It makes me nervous. They say at least.
Yeah.
It's there. Now, I will say I think this is one where I got, again, when I added the water, a little bit more alcohol to the nose. I think it actually smelled sweeter before I added that.
Did you try this one yet, Jacob? I'd be curious to see what you think after what you've already had. Which he's about a half a fifth in, by the way, in case anybody wants to know.
He was actually laying on the ground when we asked him if he wanted to try it.
And it was weird because he was talking about putting a diaper on, or could I mean, it was strange.
Yeah. Did you want another cube, Jake? Yeah. We got some right in that bowl. Oh, this is weird to me. I think I liked it more before I added the water.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, there's going to be bourbons that are going to be like that.
Yeah.
I added water to Blanton's once, and I was like, nope, E.H. Taylor, same thing. I don't add water to E.H. Taylor.
Really?
No.
That one's got a little bit of bite to it, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, bottled and bond, every one of them.
Yep.
I like Blanton's. I drink most things on the rock. I've just, I said earlier, I've just now taken to doing some neat, especially when I first get them.
Yeah.
I want to try them neat.
And I highly recommend that. I really do. Even if you don't like necessarily drinking bourbon neat, just a little bit. Just try it.
Yeah, I think it's also it's going to help. It's going to help your palate.
Yeah,
it's going to help you build that palate. I feel like that's why my palate made that jump that one day, is because I'd been doing the actual tastings.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. I enjoy this with every sip. I really do.
It's good. I did enjoy it more neat though.
Yeah,
I really did. The smell, everything. I think it was better without adding the water. Oddly enough. But you know what? After it melted on a cube for a while, I'd probably then be like, oh, wait, I just got this. Is it crazy that I've been thinking about using some of that water, the limestone water, to make cubes?
No, it's not crazy. It's not. I mean, when you have, people are like literally using distilled water or boiling their water and then doing it. And
really? People are doing that?
Yeah, to make their cubes.
No shit.
Yeah.
I usually just go right from the faucet.
I don't do the faucet anymore. I do use at least either bottled water or water from, our cooler that we have that's
filtered.
Basically filtered water.
Yeah.
So, and it does come out with a clearer cube. Now, I haven't gone as far as doing the distill, but I think I'm going to do it just to see.
Well, yeah, I'll just start buying the gallons. I didn't really even think about that being a possibility, because you can get those gallons of water super cheap.
Yeah, what, 90 cents, $1?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Maybe next podcast we will experiment with.
We'll have oh man, experiment with the limestone cubes. All right, Jake, what did you think, brother?
Well, I just finished that Weller.
Yeah.
So it's quite different.
Quite different, better or quite different?
Better.
Yeah.
and really different than anything we've had tonight. Like it to me, that new riff is definitely set aside from. And again, I go back to the filtration thing. Maybe that's it, but it's just a different tasting bourbon.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I don't think it's different than what we've tried tonight. I think it's different, period. And I think it's whether it's good or bad is, for me, yet to be decided compared to Blanton's and other things. But it's definitely better than a lot of bourbons I've had. But to me, it has set itself apart, period. Yeah. Because it is very different tasting.
And it seems like, and you could answer this way better than I can, so it's a question that I have for you. So I had not heard of this bourbon until you put it on my map about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And then that's when I did a little research on it. So, was this something you guys carried for a while, or is this something that just kind of came out?
Carried it for a while.
Okay.
Yeah, carried it. Well, it was there when I first got there. And we weren't selling it, but I every time I looked at it, the bottle is awesome. Like you said earlier, the bottle's really cool.
Really cool bottle.
I like the name too, New Riff. And I think that's what they've done is they've done a new riff on bourbon because it is very different.
Exactly.
They've set themselves aside. I feel like I have yet to decide whether or not it's up there at the top echelon for me, flavor profile wise. It's definitely not up there with Blanton's and McKenna and stuff like that, but it's taking me to a different place, and who knows? I may end up living in that place. Who knows?
Right. You may like that place. It might be comfortable for you.
Right. But as of right now, the other ones are still the upper echelon, and that is, you know what? Right now, it's sitting on my second. It's sitting 3 shelves down. It needs to go up from there.
Yeah.
It needs to go up.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, it's excellent. I'm very pleasantly surprised by the tasting. Usually every bourbon we've done on the podcast, when we add the water, I enjoy it more. Every single one. That didn't happen here.
Yeah.
It didn't. I liked it more before.
And I'm glad it didn't, because that's a tremendous thing. I think with like the High West, I enjoyed it better without the water.
Yeah. Now, I did enjoy the High West both ways. I'm not saying that, but I did enjoy it a little bit more with a couple drops of water. But I'm very pleasantly surprised by the tasting with this one. I was excited for it because I did like it on a rock, but I'm pleasantly surprised.
And I have to say, I think for our tastings, not that any of the previous 2 were bad, but I feel like this was a really good, well-rounded, like we tried a lot of different stuff.
Yeah.
Not like the first one where we had like 8 bourbons. Now, by the end of this podcast, we may have 8 bourbons,
right.
But that doesn't matter.
But it's rough when you try to hammer out the tasting with 8 bourbons.
Yeah. We learned that very fast.
We were pretty drunk for that one. I think we handled it well, but man, I think at one point I actually said out loud, man, I'm pretty fuckered up.
Yeah. It was crazy how it came across, because when I listened to it, I was like, we were really, really drunk at that point. However, it didn't sound that way.
Right. It didn't sound that bad.
But in this case, this is a wide array of different bourbons, really different bourbons. So hopefully it came across, and I think obviously we'll get better as we do these.
Yeah.
More informative and trying to give you the brass tacks of, hey, this is the price, this is the proof.
That's a good idea too, making sure you get the price and the proof and stuff out there. Yeah. I'll tell you the thing I really liked about this one. There were 2 that I hadn't tried, 2 that you hadn't tried, which was nice.
Yeah.
Also, I think we actually did get better at it for this one. Weirdly enough, I think we talked about it more and more in depth.
Yep.
I really enjoyed this tasting. I do expect them to keep getting better. And I don't know if I told you this. I know I was talking to your wife one time and I told her, but the other people might join us, but tastings are just me and you. Yeah. Like I'm not doing tastings unless you're here. You know what I mean? That's mine and yours thing. You're the one who got me into bourbon in the first place. And you come on, you do a great job, and
that's my hook. That's my hook, Jacob.
We might even have to come up with a name for it, like I have MMA Fools. we might have to have another one. I guess it'd be really easy just to go Bourbon Fools, but I want more.
Yeah. There's got to be something else out there that's more.
Yeah. But I did enjoy this. But let's list our
Okay.
Go ahead with yours first. Start with your top and go to your bottom.
Okay. So my top is going to be the High West, and it's not the cheapest that we tried. If you include the green label Weller. My second is New Riff. And it's hard to compare the two because High West is a rye, New Riff is a bourbon.
Right.
So it's almost like 1 and 1. And I know I'm taking the easy road out, but it really is. They're that much different. I like them both equally. I really impressed with the New Riff.
Oh, you said equally.
Equally.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Nice.
I mean, I really did. The New Riff just surprised me. And I think it surprised me more than anything because of how much I was disappointed in the old Forester Statesman.
I think we all know what's going at the bottom.
My second is the Calumet.
The third.
Third,
Yes. Yeah.
Third. So, I guess technically it's got to be third.
That's right. You said equally for those.
Yeah, but still, it's got to be third, whether it's 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
Was still impressed with this again tonight. And again, I didn't like it when I first had it. It has grown on me. The price point is a little high, as we discussed, but I still think it's worth a bottle, especially for you bourbon lovers. If you've never had it, it's a super cool bottle to have for your collection, and you may find out that you love it.
I will say, regardless of where it ends up on my list, it is a bottle I would like to have on the shelf at least once.
Yep.
I will say that.
And then my fourth would be Old Forester Statesman, and my fifth, the green label Weller or Weller Special Reserve.
Who the fuck did you reserve that for?
we made it Special Reserve because we put a screw cap on it.
Yeah, we made it Special Reserve because we had to make it sound better.
No one's gonna buy this. No one. This is shit water we're putting in here.
And then the guy,
you know what? Call it Special Reserve. They'll buy it.
And then the guy went, "Holy fuck! Somebody just paid $75 online for it." That's because it's Special Reserve. All right, so my list. I am actually going to also go the Double Rye by High West. That's going to actually be my clear number one. I am definitely making New Riff the number two, which I was, along with you, very pleasantly surprised. Very weird how I liked it more without the water. That's a first. Excellent. And who knows, as I keep drinking that may end up being like you, where it's right up there with it. And then my third is also going to be, we're going to be right on the same. We're exactly the same. So the Calumet, I really enjoy. Like I said, I'd like to have it on the shelf. The Statesman, very let down by, but still better than the shit green bottle.
It is. It is. And in fairness to Old Forester and the Statesman label, I am willing to give it multiple chances after this because it's hard when you're tasting multiple bourbons and it just doesn't.
That's true.
Meet your expectations.
Yeah.
So it's a possibility.
And we both probably had way too high of expectations for it. One, the price point. Two, we love 1920 so much.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
That 1920 is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
And actually, I guess we should add it in there because we did do it. I'm going to put the regular Old Forester right below the Calumet.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah. I didn't think about it till just now. I would put it above the Statesman and the Weller.
Yes. Me as well.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that sums up this tasting. This, apparently I'm a 90-year-old man. I need another bathroom break.
As do I.
Perfect.
I'm going to do, just in case, inquiring minds want to know, I'm going to do 1 and 2 at the same time.
Oh, that's impressive. Same time?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. Special talent. Side of life, and they just are never happy with no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Even if it's good things.
Right.
And
they find the negative to it.
Yeah. And I don't know, at some point you realize you're like, I want to surround myself with people who care about other people.
And who have a positive light on things.
Exactly.
More glass half full than half empty.
Right.
There's Joe Rogan actually has a thing he says about that. It's not really a quote, but it's something he said on a podcast. It's been played a few different times. But it's he said those can't catch a break people. He can't surround himself with them because there's always an excuse. Like, oh, man, I can't catch a break. This happened. I can't catch a break. This happened. Motherfucker, go do something. Instead of dwelling on the fact that you have a problem, do something to fix it or change it or something.
Exactly.
And I love that quote by him. And it's the same type of people I try to surround myself with.
Yeah.
Like that.
You will be much happier in life if you're around people that care about you and support whatever it is you're doing, and not be the person in the background like, oh, you shouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Or why would you want to do that?
Yeah. Or just, man, this happened to me, so now I can't do all the things I wanted to do. Like, no, you can figure out a way to do at least some of those things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just, I like to call them can't catch or break people because of Joe Rogan, and I fully agree with you. I can't have them around.
And you're a perfect example of that. Here's a person who got totally stung by this whole coronavirus thing. You lose your jobs.
Yeah.
Your multiple jobs because they have to shut down. They have no choice. And did you sulk? Did you do, we're like, no, you just go, you get another job, and a beautiful job at that.
Yeah. Fun. Doesn't pay as well, but fun. I enjoy it.
But, have you complained? No, not 1 second. You're like, hey, I'm going to do what I have to do until I can get back to what I want to do.
Yeah. I'll figure it out. That's the only way I can put it is I'll figure it out. I've been fortunate enough in my life to deal with a lot of hard times, and I've also been fortunate enough to come through them. And a big part of that is positive attitude and the people I've surrounded myself with.
Yep.
And I have a lot of friends that have offered help and that have helped me. But what it really boils down to is just pulling yourself up by your bootstraps, for lack of a better term. You just got to do what you can to get by until you can see a brighter time.
That's right. That's right. And knowing that you're going to see that brighter time.
Oh, yeah.
You got to know that it's there, and sometimes it's elusive, but it's there, and that's the key, and that's why it's so important when you surround yourself by positivity and those positive people. They help you with that.
Yeah, that's the thing. The bigger help isn't even the help that they offer. It's the positivity. Yep. That's the big help, is the positivity.
For sure.
With that being said, I will be accepting donations for the Gathering of Fools podcast. I did want to say we are recording, right? Yeah. So there was a lot of that conversation I wish would have been on air, but maybe some of it couldn't have been. But that conversation went a lot further than the end that you caught, and it was a good one. But I did also want to bring up that we decided to start coming back with the Weller Antique 107, which is a world of difference.
Yes, it is.
Than that Weller green.
Isn't it amazing? And it's only, $10 more a bottle?
Yeah. Yeah, MSRP, $10 more, and I'd probably pay another 10 on top of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's well worth its MSRP.
And by the look of the bottle, you could tell that because it's about a third left.
Yeah. And I hold this. So I try not to drink the bourbons that I think are better too much by myself or with just me and Tommy, because me and Tommy get together and drink them every weekend. But for the podcast or for a group of friends, like, we can hammer out these bottles. I don't care. Especially one, that's kind of how I always felt like it's to be shared with friends.
Absolutely.
Two, the documentary I watched just like piqued my level of that even more because that's what it talked about. Like you got to share it with family and things like that.
For sure. Good friends,
and
family.
Yeah,
Yep.
friends and family.
And Jacob.
One
thing, too, as we were talking about this positivity, I have to say, so a good friend of mine who I've known forever and ever, going back to high school years, went through a really serious heart surgery back in February. And
oh, no shit.
Yeah, and I just did a Zoom with him last week. And it was not only him, but a bunch of other guys that I grew up with that we go on a golf trip every year. And I just wanted to bring him up because speaking of positivity, it made me think of him. He's been unbelievable through this process, and as is on the back end of it now, is doing really well, and is in much better spirits. But he's always been in great spirits through it.
Can we say his name?
Yeah, his name's Jerry Clancy.
Okay, I don't know him.
He is a Wintersville graduate in Wintersville, not Indian Creek. It's back when it was Wintersville. Just a phenomenal person, very important person in my life who was always there for me when I was going through my situation. And I just wanted to bring him up and speak about it because I think it's really phenomenal and courageous what he went through and how well he went through it. So, Jerry, that's for you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really great. Those heart surgeries are a hard thing to come through too. My dad had a couple of them, and it's tough.
Yeah,
I
can't even imagine. I really can't. And he's like I said, he's on the back end of it now. So I'm really glad to report that.
Well, and honestly, if you want to talk about being positive and going through something, we all heard your cancer story on the last podcast, but you just, like last week maybe, sent me a picture of when you had like the drainage tubes in and the scar.
And I wanted to send that to you that night because I was talking about it and I was looking for it and I couldn't find it.
Yeah, but wow, like the story doesn't do justice how crazy it was.
Yeah, it was. As Pam likes to mention, it looked like I had lips across my entire neck.
Oh, it looked like they took your head off.
and a good friend of mine, Doug Freshwater, good friend of mine came into the hospital a couple days after it and said, "Oh my God, you look like a Pez dispenser." And I'll never forget that. I was like, "Thanks," because at that point I had not seen it,
right?
Because I couldn't get out of bed. And when they did get me up, they made sure, apparently, not to let me look in the mirror.
Yeah, which was probably a good call.
Oh, it was definitely a good call.
Yeah.
But I could tell by people coming in the room and visiting me, like just by the almost I shit my pants look on their face. It's like, well, I must not look very good.
Look, I love you, brother. It was a horror show. It was crazy. I can't remember if we did it on air or if we did it off air, but I showed Jacob and Blanton the photo, and it's startling.
Yeah, it looked like they took your head off and then sewed it back on.
And then put tubes in it to make sure it regenerated.
Yeah. It's a scary shot. There's no doubt. And every now and then when I don't know, maybe my ego gets a little too ahead of myself, then, Pam will shoot me the photo of a huge Band-Aid that they had to stick on my ass.
What's the Band-Aid on the ass for?
It was like a 5x5 Band-Aid.
What was it for?
So the way they have to invert you when they do a surgery on your neck.
They got to hang you upside down?
Yeah.
Oh, you're Batman. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
So apparently they have to do that to prevent skin breakdown.
No shit.
I didn't even know it was on there. It was numb. And she, it's a really funny story. So she somehow got a photo of it. I didn't even know she did.
Of you upside down?
No.
Oh, okay.
Of this huge ass Band-Aid on the crack of my ass.
Okay.
And she made a mock Christmas card out of it. And I can't remember what it said. Merry Christmas.
This year was a real pain in our ass.
Yeah.
This year was a real pain in our ass. So what was it for,
So
though?
funny.
Like,
I mean, my understanding was it was just because of the sacrum and just being so susceptible because of it being a long surgery that they put that on there to just protect the area.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And maybe keep someone from, dabbling into tickling the starfish.
Jesus.
Like, hey, off limits. There's a Band-Aid on it.
No. Oh, shit.
Maybe in case I involuntarily shit myself. I don't know. I really don't know. This has really got off to a bad tangent here.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't know if this will bring it back or not, but I actually had this weird thought the other night while drinking probably way too much bourbon. And not to put a sad note on it, but it was about death, but not actually about death, about what would be your optimal choice for what happens after death, like whether it be heaven or reincarnation or just a long sleep.
Wow.
Or whatever you think it might be. Because I was thinking mine would be reincarnation.
Deep thoughts from Jack Handy.
I honestly...
To come back as a Bolger dog because of the best life.
Pam says a Bolger dog, best life. I honestly, I really think I'm hoping for the reincarnation. I think that's what I'm hoping for. I'd like to live the wild ride over again.
The problem is you can't choose it. Now, if you could choose it,
Right.
then I'm all in. Mm-hmm. If I can choose my reincarnation. But if you can't, what if you come back as an amoeba?
Right. But here's my thing. Like, I feel like if the reincarnation is a thing, then it just continually goes.
Yeah.
So eventually, you're going to come back as either a human or maybe, a bald eagle. or a tiger. I just feel like you get to. I mean, I would obviously hope for human. That would be my preference. But wouldn't be awful to be a polar bear for a minute.
No. You could get a lot done.
Yeah, I just think there's not much that excites me more than the idea of life.
Right.
So, just to be able to do it over and over, because obviously, as far as we clearly know, it's finite. You know what I mean? You get your one. You call it a day.
Yeah.
But I really, I don't know what's got me on this kick lately, but I'm all about the reincarnation. And my dad used to watch all these documentaries about reincarnation and these
a lot
kids.
of books on it.
Yeah, just about to mention that.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard the stories of kids talking about being a fighter pilot in World War II, stuff like that.
Yeah. Not only do they talk about being a fighter pilot in World War II, but then they actually start to break down the actual things that they're saying, and they find the person in history that they're basically telling the story of.
So the fact that you bring that up is kind of a weird thing for me just now. My mom told me that when I was 2, 3, 4 years old, when I first started to be able to talk, that I used to talk about how I was always in a war. And of course, they just chalked it up as
you're a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Making some shit up.
playing shit out in the yard and cowboys and Indians or whatever it was. But she, has vivid memories of that and has brought that up to me as recent as a few years ago. Like, oh, yeah, you used to always talk about how you were in the war.
Yeah, dude,
it's crazy, though, but that speaks to what...
Yeah, well, and now it makes me wish that she would have paid more attention when that was happening, because you probably forgot the stories you were telling. And if she would have wrote them down, we may have found out that you were on some Navy boat in the middle of World War I.
There you go. But, of course, there's only 2 photos of me as a child under the age of 10. It was at a time where they just didn't do that.
Right, yeah. Well,
I mean, Polaroids weren't even out at that point, so,
Yeah. Jesus, you're old.
I know.
I'm just fucking around.
Wait, what's a Polaroid?
Come on.
No, it's crazy how photos have changed. But then I grew up in a time where we had all the photos and stuff like that, which wasn't that far off of yours. But yearbooks and stuff like that, I don't even know where mine are anymore. I was the worst at that. Now I'm like, man, I wish I had a fucking yearbook. So hold on to your collectibles, people.
Yep.
But yeah, I don't know what it is about reincarnation. That's what I'm truly. That's what I'm.
Sounds like that could be its own separate podcast.
Yeah. Maybe it should be. I'm all for that. I got to dig deeper into that too and get more information.
Yeah. As do I.
Then another thing I had on here was actually, you know what? Let's get into we're going to do a top 5. I had a couple other things that I wanted to get into, but let's get into our top 5. I'm excited for this one. This, again, I think this might rival the sports one we did last time.
I think it could.
We're doing our top 5 Tom Cruise movies, and we're going to do a lot of honorable mentions.
Yes.
Jacob, do you want in on this?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
All right. So, you know what, Jacob, you do not get to do these enough. So we're going to start with you, and it would be your number 5.
Put him on the spot. I like it.
Number 5, I'm going to go with Edge of Tomorrow.
Excellent choice.
Excellent choice. I have it as an honorable mention.
As do I.
Anytime I see it, and it's on often, like TNT, TBS, I always stop and watch it. I really like this movie.
It's a good premise. I'm glad they changed the name too. You know what the original name was?
It was like Live, Die, Repeat.
Yeah, Live, Die, Repeat. Which is what I'm going for with this reincarnation idea. So what is it about it that you love, Jake?
I don't know. It's just it's a really good idea.
Yeah, it's a good concept.
Yeah.
It's a good concept. So for those of you who don't know, Tom Cruise is actually, I'm just going to go out and say it. He's in the military, but he's a pussy. He is scared of any type of combat and avoids it at all cost. I shouldn't say pussy because, combat's scary.
Vertical smile.
Yeah. Combat is scary. So he ends up getting caught in some kind of lie or ruse or something, and they end up putting him in with this group, and they're actually going to a battle that they pretty much know they can't win. What are they, like, basically like insects?
I think so. It's
like giant insects, kind of like spaceship troopers.
Yeah.
Thing.
So they keep going to this one battle, and he gets killed the first time, and it's pretty quick, and then he wakes up, and it's like all starting all over again as soon as he gets to the troop, and he has to try to figure out how to make it work. And I'm not doing it justice. It's an amazing movie.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
And the other thing that makes this movie work is his counterpart, Emily Blunt, was amazing in this
Phenomenal.
movie. Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Loved her in it.
Yeah. I've never really been insanely attracted to her, but that movie I am. When she's like doing all the crazy shit in that workout room, I'm
no
like,
doubt.
Oh, fuck, she's gorgeous.
And she's, I mean, to her credit, one of my, I wouldn't say all-time favorite movies, but again, a movie I'll watch anytime it's on, Sicario.
Oh, yeah.
She was unreal in that movie, and just played it to the T. There's the one movie that she was in, I believe it was with Ben Affleck, but I'm not sure, where it's like Girl on a Train or something like that.
Yeah, I think it is Girl on a Train.
Yeah.
I haven't actually seen that.
Yeah, another really good one. But anyhow, point is, great choice, good movie.
Yeah.
Easily could be in my top 5.
Yeah.
I had trouble not putting it in it, but it is definitely in my top 7.
I think I had it as my, weirdly, I still kind of have them numbered, but I think it was basically my 3rd honorable mention.
Gotcha.
All right, so you're number 5.
Okay. This is probably going to be a little bit of a controversial one, but I like controversy.
You do.
So he has a pretty small part in this movie, and it's a movie that I can't believe I didn't give it an honorable mention when we were doing our top 5 comedies.
I already know what you're going to say.
Tropic Thunder.
Small role. To me, he was the highlight of the fucking movie.
Yeah, unbelievable. So hilarious. I can honestly say it is the funniest that Tom Cruise has ever been in any movie, by far.
By far. Leaps and bounds.
Yeah.
It was actually the second movie I thought of for Tom Cruise, and I put it off to the side as my first honorable mention just because it was a small role.
And I thought of doing the same, but I felt like it was impactful enough on my life. And I know it's sad when you say Tropic Thunder's impactful on your life, but there's the ending part where they roll the credits and there's a dance scene and he's dancing, and it is freaking hysterical.
Every single time he's on the screen in that might be the funniest time of the movie. You know what I mean? Like the first time you saw it, you're like, oh, that's the funniest part of the movie. Then you see him again, you're like, no, that's the funniest part. I completely agree. It was phenomenal. He stole the show.
Yep.
My two favorite parts about that movie are the two people with smaller roles, him and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey, not because necessarily he was funny, but because his face acting in the scene where he's like trying to decide whether or not to help his friend / client or buy a boat. And you can see the struggle in his face. I'm like, why is he showing so much struggle? Why is he acting so well for this silly movie? But I completely agree.
Yeah.
Absolutely phenomenal. Actually, another thing I wanted to bring up about Tropic Thunder, Robert Downey Jr. did an interview with Joe Rogan, and Joe was like, you just couldn't do that today. You couldn't do that today because Robert Downey Jr. did blackface on it. So you couldn't do that today. And Robert Downey Jr. goes, well, you could, but
but he was spectacular in it, and that's one of the movies that you look back on it or anytime it's on, and we've watched it as recent as probably 3 or 4 months ago. It's just there are so many hilarious parts in that movie.
Jack Black when he's tied to the tree.
Yeah.
Talking about, he's like, I'll work the shaft.
Yeah. Come on.
Just let me go.
He was a complete drug addict, and he was just looking for his next fix.
Yeah.
He was willing to do anything.
I really love that you put that in your top 5. I was kind of hoping that one of us would, because I was like, I'm not going to put it there just because of this, but it deserves to be there.
Well, I'm your guy.
I
couldn't help it.
It's a great performance. So my number 5 is probably one of his more well-known movies, even though it was early on in his career, Cocktail.
Nice.
I think the reason it had to go there, I think other movies would have made it in there before that, except for it's the movie that kind of made me want to become a bartender.
Sure.
Me
too.
Yeah.
Me too, for sure.
Don't get me wrong, I've never learned any of those tricks, but it still made me want to be a bartender. Just the interaction with people and everything like that I saw, I was like, yeah, this is awesome.
And I got to tell you, Elizabeth Shue looked fantastic in that movie.
Did she?
Yes.
She has always been one of my favorite women in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I don't think she ever got the acclaim in any direction that she deserved.
And I believe, if you could scroll up, Jacob, I think that was like a late 80s movie. Is that correct?
It might even be
88.
Early. 88.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was in that time frame, and Tom Cruise had like a 8-year time frame where no matter what movie he was in, he was the best.
Yeah.
It was Top Gun.
Yeah.
It was Cocktail. It was Few Good Men. Foreshadowing. For sure.
Yeah, and anything he did was gold. And actually, it really still happens today. There just seem to be more spread out because anything he does is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
But I love this movie. I wish they would have actually just kind of stuck to maybe the bartending storyline and the storyline with the girl. Like, they really didn't need to go into the storyline where the guy who taught him everything ripped him off. Like, I don't know. It didn't need to be there. But then at the same time, I could see little hustlers like that in my bartending days.
But I do like the guy who played him, and I believe his name was Brian Brown. Mm-hmm. He did a really good job at it. It was good casting.
He is actually a really good actor. Like, he's never somebody that I've looked for his movies, but every time I see him in a movie, I'm like, oh shit, there he is. And then he does a great job.
Yeah.
He did a movie called Taipan, which is based off of a series of books written by James, I always fuck up his last name, Clavell, I want to say it is. And do you remember the old Shogun miniseries?
Oh, for sure.
So fucking good. I got it on DVD. It's so amazing.
Yeah.
But that was part of the series of books too, called the Asian Saga. And they did a movie about Taipan, which I recommend reading the book. The movie was okay, but he did an awesome job in that as well.
Yeah.
So, all right. So Jacob, we're on your 4.
Jack Reacher.
Jack Reacher. Honestly, didn't make my list.
So it made mine. The first Jack Reacher I loved. and it was shot in Pittsburgh, if I'm correct.
Yeah.
And which I thought was another cool thing about it, because a lot of the backdrops were obviously things familiar to us. But I know it didn't get phenomenal reviews, but
It was good.
I thought it was really well done. And I'm one of those people that didn't read the books, and I think people that maybe read the books were maybe disappointed in it. But because I didn't, I just thought it was clever. It was well done, and I really like the female that was in it. I want to say Rosa Pike or Pikeman. Probably butchering that name. Rosamund Pike. She was fantastic in it, and her claim to fame was Gone Girl with Ben Affleck.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
She was
excellent. Yeah.
So, to me, I had it as an honorable mention because I just really enjoy it, and it's also my criteria where if I'm flicking through and it's on, I'm going to watch it.
Well, and I own it, and I would say that I would watch it if it was on. I feel like I just had so many movies that it just couldn't make the cut.
Yeah.
But I have nothing really bad to say about it. I just had so many Tom Cruise movies. I thought it was good, definitely based off books. The second one I even found entertaining, but it was definitely nowhere near as good as the first. Although I do like the leading lady in that one. What's her name? Like Colby Smolder. She's
How I Met Your Mother.
How I Met Your Mother. Yeah, she was going How I Met Your Mother. She was also in the Marvel movies as one of the. She was like basically the main agent next to.
And I believe, didn't Robert Duvall make a cameo appearance? Is it Robert Duvall?
In the second one or the first one?
First, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there he is.
And he kind of helped Tom Cruise at the middle towards the end of the movie actually find the killers, which was just, I don't know. I mean, I'm an enormous Robert Duvall fan. So
If you're not, then you got a problem.
yeah.
Robert Duvall's the shit, period. Yeah, I like the pick. Like I said, I have so many.
Yeah. It's hard.
Yeah.
Anything you want to add to that?
I haven't watched a lot of old Tom Cruise movies.
So you had to go with the more recent.
Yeah, this is a recent action one that I liked.
Yeah,
Well,
and it's
I
excellent.
think it's. I agree.
It is. All right, you're number 4.
Okay. As I unlock my phone to pull up my notes,
It's
So-
weird because normally it has paper.
really, 4 through 1, I could interchange.
Me, 3 and 4 are interchangeable.
All right. So for number 4, I'm going to go with an oldie, but I believe it's got to be in anybody's top 5. Risky Business.
Risky Business. It was actually in my honorable mentions towards the top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it, for me, the year it came out, it was when I was in high school. It was I don't know. It's just something. It's a movie I grew up with. My friends grew up with. We loved it.
Yeah.
It's a great story.
Rebecca De Mornay, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there are some similarities to some things that happened in that movie that took place in my high school years that I will not get into too much detail about.
You did
and
the slide in your socks, right?
Yeah. And no, I did not run a brothel out of my parents' house, in case anyone's wondering. But there was, a car scene where, it got destroyed and he got it back in time enough that was very similar to a situation that I lived.
Okay. Hold on. How much do we have to skip over that, and how much can we get into that?
I can give a little bit of detail. I mean, I have obviously a much older person now and came clean with my parents quite a few years ago. Real quick, the synopsis is my dad had a really nice red convertible. They were out of town.
Do you remember what kind of car?
I believe it was a Chevy Cavalier convertible.
Okay.
And decided to take it for some joyrides while they were gone. Unfortunately, hit a curb way too hard.
Is that it there?
Yes.
Okay.
Bent an axle to the point where it could not go any further. So I was smart enough to not take it to the local Steubenville dealership.
Right, because then everybody would have known.
Right.
Yeah.
We were like, well, my dad would have found out probably before he even got home. So I called Toronto, J&J Chevrolet, and it just so happened that the guy that was the mechanic there graduated high school with my brother.
Just so happened or planned?
Yeah, no, just so happened.
Oh, nice.
I mean, this
that was luck.
This is part of my luck, which coincides with Tom Cruise's story.
Yeah.
I take it in. I explain the situation. He was like, "Oh yeah, I went to school with your brother. I'll take care of you." He's like, "I'm gonna put Rust-Oleum on, and I'm gonna do some other stuff so it'll look like the other axles look like." Like, hey, whatever.
Whatever. Just like your dad was gonna climb underneath the car.
I'm like, by the way, I need it by this Friday. They're coming back Saturday. He's like, "Oh man, I don't know." He's like, "I'll let you know." Calls me a couple days later. He's like, "Hey, it's ready. It's Friday." I get it. I go out. I get it at J&J Chevrolet in Toronto. I pull it in to the garage literally like 7 o'clock at night, and they're back the next day, and
It was perfect.
it was perfect.
That's incredible. That's awesome.
But, what I left out is the hoops I had to jump through to not only pay for it, because it was like $500.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
So I'm scrounging.
And you're in high school.
Yeah. It was not an easy situation. I'm borrowing money from some friends and figuring out how to do it and get that part of it done. But just also the whole fact of then the stress of each day going by and thinking, oh my God, well, how am I going to explain this? Hey, where's my car?
But I'll tell you what, that also makes you, like we were talking about earlier, one of the glass half full people, because most people would have just been like, well, I'm fucked.
Right.
No. I have a problem, and I'm going to figure out how to fix it.
Right.
Did you stress afterwards that you were going to find out somehow?
I did, and I allowed several years to go by for obvious reasons, and then eventually he got rid of the car, and it was like at a Christmas or Easter dinner, maybe I was in my mid-20s, late 20s, and I finally, because it actually was still weighing on me the whole time, and I finally just came clean about it.
Well, and honestly, my thing as a parent, honestly, almost how mad can you be? Because, yeah, you fucked the car up, but you got it fixed. Yourself.
Paid for it.
And paid for it yourself. Yeah. So, like, it's like, well, yeah, you did something fucked up, but you took responsibility and you made it work.
Right. So, not quite to the extent where the car is going into the ocean or the river.
Whatever it was, yeah. It was fully encompassed in water.
Smells like the river.
Smells like the river.
Anyhow, so I know we got off on a huge tangent, but that's the quick story.
Yeah, well, and for that movie, basically, his parents go out of town, right? And he ends up meeting a girl played by Rebecca De Mornay, and she's a prostitute.
Right.
And he ends up...
Escort.
He ends up basically falling in love with her, and they also... That's how the brothel thing ends up starting, is because the car goes in the water, right? That's how that starts.
Yes.
Yeah, the car goes in the water. He has to get it fixed, and they start a brothel, and he ends up being like the fucking man for a little while.
Yeah.
And anybody in their, we'll call it, what's what I'm looking for? Puberty days. They loved that train scene.
Yeah. Great scene. Great scene. Pam and I have relived that several times.
She says, in your dreams, and he said yes.
In Chicago.
In Chicago.
I have video to prove it.
Pam's going to murder him after this podcast. All right, so where are we at?
We will post it on the Gathering of Fools website after.
It'll be a great video. Mature content only.
Behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah. Oh, shit.
All right, what's your number 4?
My number 4 is, I'm sure it's on everybody's list if they've seen it. Sorry, because I don't know if Jacob's seen it. But A Few Good Men.
Oh,
I do want to put out there real quick. It is interchangeable with my number 3, but A Few Good Men is my choice. I think it's the first time we truly saw the acting skills of Tom Cruise.
I agree. So it's we can jump over my 3 because it was my 3.
We just interject one of your
Yeah. Just absolutely love the movie. Again, another one of those criteria movies where if I'm flipping through and it's on, I'm going to stop and watch it. I will say, Demi Moore.
take her or leave her in that
Yeah.
movie.
But
the rest of the cast was great.
Unbelievable. I mean, you got Kiefer Sutherland, who did a great job. Jack Nicholson, which still to this day might be the best 3-minute, 2-minute speech that I've ever seen anyone give when he's on the witness stand.
Yeah, that's
Just
it may be one of the most iconic moments in a movie is when Tom Cruise does get him to break and Jack Nicholson goes off on that tangent.
yeah, I'm on the wall.
You can't handle the truth.
Yeah. It's beautiful. And the thing about it from the perspective of Tom Cruise in a Tom Cruise movie is that entire time he completely holds his own with a legend.
Completely holds his own. That's what I mean when I say I think it's the first time we really saw his acting chops.
Yep.
Because don't get me wrong, those other movies are awesome and incredible, like Risky Business and things like that. But he was playing like just kind of these fun, like crazy movies. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And in this one, this was a drama.
Right.
And I mean, he fucking nailed it.
Yep.
I mean, what he did to get Jack Nicholson to break gets forgotten in the movie quotable realm because Jack Nicholson then went off with "You can't handle the truth,"
Right.
and starts, "Well, we go on a wall," and it got overtaken as it should because Jack.
You're right.
But his part of that gets forgotten because it's incredible.
Yeah, it absolutely is. I totally agree. Love the movie, and I think it could easily be a number 1 for sure.
Yeah, like I said, it's definitely interchangeable with my number 3. Jacob, have you actually seen that one?
No.
No? Oh, you got to watch that one.
Yeah, you need to do it.
That's a must.
Yeah. All right. So
Jacob's number...
My number 3.
Yeah.
The Others.
The Others.
It's a scary movie.
Pull that up.
He's in that?
I don't remember him being in that. I feel like I remember the movie. But well, Nicole Kidman's in it. That's for sure. His wife.
I don't know what I pressed.
You hit a YouTube. There you go. IMDb. I could
have sworn he was in here.
I don't think he's in there, brother.
Well, that's awkward.
Why are you making things up?
He said, "Well, that's awkward,"
he meant to say The Smothers.
which is coming out soon. Well, you got another one coming up.
Yeah.
He said, "Well, that's awkward."
The Firm. We'll do my number 2. The
Oh,
Firm.
yeah? Nice. That's a good pick. I don't know how I missed that. That definitely should have been in my honorable mentions, without a doubt. Should have been, without a doubt.
And it's not in mine, but it was, at some point you have to cut bait, so to speak.
Right.
There's
I literally
so
got
many.
like maybe 20 movies on
I
here.
know. But excellent movie. And I can't remember who was the leading lady in that. But man, it was really, really good.
Is this it? Go up.
This is still The Others.
Oh, you're trying to find out why you thought Tom Cruise was involved. I see what you're doing.
Only because he was inseminating her at the time.
Yes, he was definitely married to her. The Firm. Gene Triplehorn.
And Gene Hackman. Gene Hackman.
Gene Hackman, one of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
Really
Really good movie. Hal Holbrook. I mean,
Really good.
Wilford Brimley. Are you killing? Are you killing me?
You kill me. Somebody might be. We actually Holly Hunter's way down that list. Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
Man, what Gary Busey?
Oh.
Of course, Gary Busey. We brought this
6
up.
degrees of Gary Busey.
This movie was actually based on a book, I believe, and he plays a high quality, or not high quality, but a really good lawyer, and ends up being kind of cultish, if I'm correct, right?
He launders money for the mob.
Okay, that's what it is.
You know what else I like about it is it's directed by Sidney Pollack.
Oh shit.
And
John Grisham book. Yep. So Sidney Pollack, go ahead.
Yeah,
sorry.
so he had a scene, usually he's kind of like M. Night Shyamalan. You know how he always makes a spot guest appearance in his movies?
Yeah.
That's what Sidney Pollack does.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So he's guaranteed he's in that movie, and I can't remember what scene or what part he plays, but I guarantee you that he does do it. Movie.
Is this a list of his movies now, Sidney Pollack?
Yeah. Right
Okay.
here.
So
sorry.
a movie I just watched not too long ago, like 2 weeks ago, happened to be on whatever, Showtime, HBO, Michael Clay.
Okay. Scroll
And
up a little bit. I want to see a
has
picture
George
of him.
Clooney and Sidney Pollack.
Oh, yeah. I know him well.
Yeah.
He's been in a lot of movies.
Yes.
Yeah.
But he's all, and what a lot of people know him as an actor, but he's also a phenomenal director.
Yeah,
they
I had
just
no
don't
clue.
realize what movies he's directed.
Yeah, I had no fucking idea. And actually, they said he was involved in Tootsie, which I actually remember him being in Tootsie as well. I love Tootsie. I
Yeah.
don't know if you ever saw that. Dustin
yeah.
Hoffman.
Oh,
so
for sure.
good,
Yeah.
man. The original Mrs.
That was in my
Doubtfire.
primetime movie watching.
Man, so fucking good.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
Great pick. I like that pick, Jacob. I like it a lot. And so we're on your number 3.
Okay. Again, it's a tough. All right. So I'm going to go number 3, Jerry Maguire.
Ding, 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 ding. That's also my number 3. So I'll interject one in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was also my number 3.
Just absolutely love this movie. I think he's phenomenal in it. Cuba Gooding Jr. obviously
amazing.
is,
Yeah.
But just the story is just a great story. The kid is cute as shit.
He's one of the highlights of the movie,
Yeah.
without a doubt. Without a doubt.
And I think what's great about this movie is it came out and it had really no. There wasn't a lot of discussion about the movie,
No.
and then it hits.
Yeah.
And people start seeing it, and then boom, it just explodes.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere is basically what it felt like. Like, you didn't even know it was coming out. Then you're like, oh, there's this new Tom Cruise movie. But what the fuck is it? And then all of a sudden, as soon as people started seeing it, just blew up everywhere.
Yeah.
Because it is that good.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
The show me the money scene. Also, my favorite Renee Zellweger movie.
Yeah.
Not that I've seen a ton of her work, but it's by far
Yeah,
my favorite one of hers.
She was adorably cute
Yeah.
in it.
I-
Pouty lips before she got a lot of bad plastic
God,
surgery.
what happened, man? Why does that happen?
Pam, come on, chime in.
Yeah, true.
I love this movie a lot. Actually, it's up there in my all-time list. Period. The love aspect of it, the sports aspect of it, like the scene where he finally where Cuba Gooding Jr. after Tom Cruise yells at him like, you need to put it on the line, blah blah, and then he does, and he gets hurt in the end zone for a minute. And he's like, no, just leave me alone for a minute. And he just starts dancing his ass off, and
Yeah, it's great.
oh man, this is definitely one I tear up for.
Yep, I do too.
At probably like 3 or 4 different points of the movie.
Yeah. And that's always a litmus test for me. If I tear up a little bit during the movie or full blown cry, it's going to be in my top 5.
It has to be because it was able to give you that type of emotion.
Yep.
For something that you're watching that you know is fake, to give you that type of emotion speaks volumes,
Right.
in my opinion.
Right.
And this is an all-time great movie. And I really just think, again, it came out of left field for Tom Cruise. Nobody expected this to be a type of movie he was doing.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. It was a departure for him
Yeah.
for sure,
Yeah, without a doubt.
at that time.
So now I got to interject a different number 3. So I'm actually going to go with Top Gun.
Okay.
I'm going to put that at...
You're going to be that guy.
I'm going to be that guy.
You're going to be Tommy.
Listen.
I wondered.
Was it the Ducks movie?
Yeah.
No, the Mighty Ducks was
Mighty
me,
Ducks,
actually.
They they call this one G1.
Which
G1.
Which they are coming out with the G2. Do we know
Top
this?
Gun 2?
Yes.
Dude, have you seen the previews?
No.
It looks insane. So, first of all, one of the reasons I love Top Gun is because I love movies with jets. I don't know what it is. Like, you remember the old movie Iron Eagle?
Yes. I
Love
love
it.
Iron Eagle.
Love it.
Louis Gossett Jr.? Are you kidding me?
It's that and Enemy Mine for me and him.
Oh, Louis Gossett. I mean, Enemy Mine, that's like, come on. Are you serious?
One of the best.
That might be the best acting performance ever.
Yes, he played an alien. And it might be one of my top 5 Dennis Quaid movies.
Oh, yeah. He was good in it.
So good. But I love movies with jets. I don't know what it is. And even in that time frame.
Could it be your military background, maybe?
Well, maybe. But this was a love before I had it. Maybe that's
Okay.
why I joined the Air Force, though.
All right.
Although I didn't do anything close to fighting jets. I refueled them in the air.
Well, hey, that's still quite something.
Yeah. But so I love the movie Top Gun. I like the idea. And obviously, they gave him the perfect call sign. I like the idea of a maverick going in and being the best.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I love that concept. There are parts of the movie I definitely could have lived without, but I do love the brotherhood scenes, like with him and Goose.
Sure.
You know, him and Goose, that tight friendship. That's what you hope for in a friend.
Yeah.
And again, when Goose died, it chokes me up a little bit.
It choked me up for sure when I saw it. And I joke, but no, that movie stands on its own. It's a classic.
Yeah.
I really do enjoy it. There's a lot of, the thing is, you have to take in perspective of when a movie is made.
Right. Yes.
And it was mid-'80s.
Yeah.
And everything was corny. And so there was a lot of corniness about this movie, but overall, it's a really good movie.
I love it. I love the guy that plays his mentor, Viper, in the movie, too. He's done a lot of good movies.
Yeah.
At Poltergeist, he was the dad, I think. And I wish I could remember more that he's done right now, but I like him in everything I've seen him in.
Craig T. Nelson?
No, Tom
Skerritt.
Tom Skerritt.
Yes.
I love also... I always talk about iconic mustaches for some reason, and I always say Tom Selleck and Sam Elliott.
Yes.
And now
Tom Skerritt's got a nice
now if
stash.
I go up there, Tom Skerritt, especially back in the day when he was doing his movies, I might have to add his mustache up there in the iconic roles.
I always like to view a mustache as if there's food hanging off of it, it's iconic.
Yeah.
And I believe he's got a Cheerio hanging off of his.
Yeah, man, I believe he's looking sick in his older age. I hope he's okay. Is he alive? Jesus Christ. Look at that.
my.
Look at that. You see that one picture? Go back to where you were real quick. Yeah, he's still alive. Holy fuck. 1933. Look at that picture right there.
Age has...
Both of those two. Whoo, Jesus.
Now, realizing you can't see these photos, age has not been well to Tom Skerritt.
No. Holy cow. He's wrinkly. I guess I should have expected that. He's got a lot of wrinkles even at his young age. Look, he looks drunk and happy in that picture, huh?
He has done a lot of great movies.
Look. He looks like the happiest drunk man ever in that picture. Sorry, I know you guys can't see that.
And
again.
he apparently, much like Ozark, is growing poppy fields on his property.
Yes. But I love the movie. And actually, I want to make a note of, since he hasn't seen the preview, I want to, after we're done with this, see the preview for the new Top Gun. Just think of what they can do today with a jet movie.
Oh.
It's going to be fucking insane, right?
Yeah.
Wait till you see the fucking preview, man.
Listen, if Anthony Edwards isn't in it, I'm not going to see it. That's all I'm saying.
I'm at a loss right now for who Anthony Edwards is.
Anthony Edwards is his buddy who dies.
Oh, that's Goose?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he better not be in it. Yeah, because he's dead.
Well, there he is.
Yes.
Much older looking.
Yeah. Man, I'll tell you what, age didn't do him kind like 5 years after Top Gun. Wasn't a long time. It was like right after. He was a handsome guy in Top Gun.
He was out at bars trying to convince women that he was in Top Gun, and they were like, "No, that's not you.
No, you're not. You don't
Look at yourself.
You don't even have any hair.
You look disgusting."
Get out of here. You don't. You would never fit in a flight suit. Oh shit! But yeah, so Top Gun will be my number 3.
All right.
All right, Jacob, we're on your number 2, brother.
Well, technically this would be my number 1 because The Firm was my number 2.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any other honorable mentions, but I'll go American Made.
American Made.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was definitely in my honorable mentions.
It was in mine too.
Incredible movie.
Yeah. Well done. Very well done.
The whole movie was good. I think the only reason it did make it into my top 5 is just because of my passion for the 5 ahead of it.
Exactly.
Because it's incredible and a true story and something that should be eye-opening. Listen, this actually hits a nerve with me right now because I keep arguing with dummies on Facebook about conspiracy theories, but this is one that happened to be true. This was a conspiracy theory that then turned out to be true. The CIA was feeding cocaine into the United States. Without a doubt. No way around it. That's what happened. And Tom Cruise plays Barry Seal, who was the pilot that they enlisted to fly it into the country. And he ended up with enough money that he hired a team of pilots and had this big property that he just flew it in on. And ended up getting shot in the head. But, you know, that's what happens when you playing the drug game.
Yeah.
But phenomenal movie. Definitely a true story. A crazy fucking story. I'm sure that it was, what's the word I'm looking for? They probably overdid it a little bit for the sake of the movie.
Sure.
But just an incredible movie.
Yeah. Yeah. And I actually think this movie is a little bit like another movie that I love, The Mule.
I haven't watched that one yet. Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta watch it.
I haven't
so
watched it
good.
yet.
Again, based on a true story, a drug runner, different sort of situation because he's doing it basically by his pickup truck versus plane. But I really enjoyed this movie because anytime it's based on a true story, that brings an added edge to anything. And like you said, you know, it's probably not
completely factual.
Yeah.
There's probably, it's dramatized or whatever the word is. Like, they just overdid it in certain points, I'm sure.
But what amazed me about it is just the things that he had to go through to get to the point where he was actually running the drugs for the cartel lord. Like, at first, it was just like, here and there.
Doing a little bit here and there,
And then when they realized, like, 1, he's good at it, and 2, he can carry a shit ton.
And he had a free pass.
Yeah. And the other thing I like that makes this movie kind of apart from most is it's intense and it's stressful.
Oh, yeah.
Especially you feel it the whole time.
Especially at the end, man. At the end, when he's just constantly looking over his shoulder because the government won't help him anymore. It's crazy intense. Jacob, what do you have to say about it? We just keep liking your picks and then just go off on tangents.
Yeah, we don't even give you a chance to talk about it.
No, you guys hit it all.
All right, well, good.
I like.
All right.
So you're number 2.
Got to pull it back up.
We're gonna get you back on paper.
I know. I thought I was going to be high tech this time. All right. So I know Jacob's not going to know this movie. I think, Dave, you will just because we're movie nerds. Color of Money.
Definitely 100% on my
honorable
mentions, and it was a question for me between that and Cocktail for number 5.
So let me tell you about this movie a little bit.
One, it's a sequel.
Quick. It's a sequel. So the original movie had Jackie Gleason, and it's about pool.
And Paul Newman.
Right. So, The Color of Money is about. It has Paul Newman in it, and he's unbelievable in it. And so this is Paul Newman in his later years versus in his early years when he beats Minnesota Fats, which is Jackie Gleason, when he's a young kid. So now roles are reversed. Here comes Tom Cruise, who's this up and coming like
Pool
hot shot
legend.
Yeah,
Not pool legend, but yeah, hotshot pool player.
and there's so many scenes in this movie that are just so cool. And the thing that's going to sound strange that I like about it most is they had Eric Clapton do the soundtrack for this movie.
Oh,
And
no, that's awesome.
I'm a huge Eric
I didn't
Clapton
realize
fan.
that.
And so he had most of the songs that are played throughout the movie. But there's this one scene where kind of Tom Cruise is strutting his stuff. And at this point, he doesn't even really know who Paul Newman is. He's just watching in the background.
While Tom Cruise hustles people for money.
Right.
Yeah.
And the song they have playing is Werewolves of London by Warren Zevon. And he's going around the pool table and he's twirling the pool stick like nobody can, hitting shots like nobody can.
Yeah,
it's
well,
crazy.
That was a crazy thing. He was hitting crazy shots, and he was also doing like martial arts movements with the pool stick.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
And this was also during the time, as I spoke of earlier, where no matter what movie it was during the 80s and early 90s, whatever Tom Cruise was in, he was the best at it.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know who his agent was, but he must have been phenomenal. But this actually just brought up a point to me about Tom Cruise's dedication, because if you talk to actual professional pool players, they say that Tom Cruise actually had the game down. He wasn't. There's more cubes in that fridge right there if you want some.
I'm going to go Glencairn with the blends if you're okay with
Yeah,
that.
absolutely.
Okay.
Drink whatever you want, brother. But they say like his dedication to what he does is insane. Like he learned how to play pool, so it didn't look broken when he was doing it. Like, you know, like you see a boxing movie, if you're a boxing or a fight fanatic, and you see somebody, you're like, well, while it's a good movie, he's not fighting for shit.
Right.
They said he could actually play pool. It looked like he could play pool. And then if you go into like the Mission Impossibles, like that scene where he's hanging off the side of the airplane, he's hanging off the side of the airplane.
Yeah.
When he's flying a helicopter, he learned how to fly a helicopter.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane what he does for a role.
Yeah.
I just wanted to bring that up. But I love this movie. It's, to me, one of the all-time greats.
I completely agree. I love, I'm a huge Paul Newman fan to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
Going back to the old days with him and Robert Redford when they used to star in movies together. I love those movies. I grew up on those.
Yeah, I feel like I need to go back and watch a lot of those.
Yeah.
Was that Butch Cassidy, the Sundance Kid?
Yep.
Yeah.
Those
yeah.
were my first memories of loving movies. Were
Yeah.
those movies.
And I've actually seen that, but it's been a long time. I need to watch that again.
So for me, it was like seeing an icon, and then here you had this upstart guy, and he's real cocky in the movie, and he's real hateable in the movie. And then he's got the woman who happened to be in Scarface,
She's beautiful.
Elizabeth
Mary Elizabeth Mastrantonio.
Yeah. And she played the part.
It's Masterson, isn't it?
No, it's
no.
Mastriantonio.
Mastrantonio.
Mastriantonio.
Sorry, we know you're listening.
And later I'm going to make you ravioli.
Yeah. God, no, I want raviolis.
So if you haven't seen it, you need to see it. It is a classic. And I'm done.
Yeah, it's really, really good. All right, so now we're on my number 2. I don't know if I'm going to catch shit for this or not, but I think it is an all-time great movie, and it is Far and Away with him and Nicole Kidman.
You're going to catch some shit. I'm just
good.
going to tell you right now. You're going to catch some shit. I'm not going to put this quite up there with Mighty Ducks D1, D2.
I think if we took a poll, if I could actually get people to respond to these things, I know people are listening because I see the downloads, but I never get people to respond. I believe the poll would be that this is a good movie.
I'm not saying it's a bad movie.
There's bare knuckle fighting.
I mean, does bare knuckle fighting alone make it a good movie?
No, but all the rest of it, it's a story of immigrants coming to the U.S. and fighting through the struggles of that. I mean, at one point they're staying in random emptied houses, and then they're fighting for their.
All right, here's
Pam said so is The Godfather, which is a better movie.
Here's my only issue with that premise, is that Nicole Kidman and Tom Cruise were also in Eyes Wide Shut.
Yes.
And I don't think any three of us have that in our top.
Well, no, that movie was shit.
30. So
that movie was shit.
I feel like when the two of them team up, I can't stomach it.
Well, see, here's what I thought. I kind of did think about that. But here's what I think about that. I think this might have been where they first got to know each other. And I think some of that chemistry from their first initial meeting showed on screen. As much as you can have chemistry with weird Scientologists.
True.
And by the way, my number one isn't a movie. It's Oprah Winfrey Show where Tom Cruise jumped on the couch. No, I'm just kidding. But no, I love this movie. I think it is awesome. I love the whole aspect. I can't lie. I'm a big fight fan, so I love the bare knuckle fighting scenes. Even though they weren't the best, but I love the movie. I love when they're staking their claim on the land in the West. I love multiple aspects of it. I'm sorry. I knew this one was going to catch me shit. Crickets. I knew it was going to catch me shit. Well, one, I knew Jacob hadn't seen it.
No.
So I'm going to need Jacob to see it. And then two, I knew Steve was going to give me shit. I knew it was coming. I knew it was.
I'm sorry. As much as I want to just be there and back you on that one, I can't. I'm sorry.
I
apologize.
I think maybe you should rewatch it.
Okay.
It's only 4 hours of your life.
That's right. I will do it.
Pam is not looking forward to it.
I think I'd rather watch Eyes Wide Shut.
Well, yeah, at least there's nudity in that.
A lot of nudity and
weird shit.
Yeah.
That movie took me by surprise.
Yes, it did.
All right, so did you find another one, Jacob?
No.
All right.
Skip.
Okay.
So we're on your number one,
All
Steve.
right, so this is not my original number one because I had to scoot A Few Good Men out. So only
Few Good Men was your number one?
It was. Okay, so
like that call.
I'm going to interject this one, and I have no problem doing it. And this is going back a long way. Now, it's not one of his first movies. I believe one of his first movies was Taps.
I believe so.
Which was a good movie. Small part he had. This, he was a lead role. All the Right Moves.
You know, I saw this one, and I was like, man, I remember loving this, but I don't remember it enough. I don't remember it enough.
It took place in Aliquippa, PA.
Oh, no shit.
He's a football player.
I knew that, yeah.
Craig T. Nelson is the coach.
Which
he...
Come on, he's actually the coach.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's why he got that job.
It might be.
Yeah. Anytime I see it, it makes me cry. It makes me think of when I played football in high school because there's just so many similarities. It's very true to how high school football is.
I have to watch this again.
It is in my opinion, a spectacular movie. That's all I can say about it. I mean, it just is they show the mill workers. They show how hard it is in practice.
I do have to bring up this is a very acclaimed movie. It is. People love this movie. And I have to watch it again. I saw it on there and I was like, fuck, I remember loving this, but I don't remember it enough to put it on the list. And it's just because it's been so long since I've seen it.
So we're talking 1983. So it was before Risky Business.
Yeah. It's one of his first. Go to his IMDb.
And
I bet you it's his first 5 movies.
And I actually think one of his first movies was The Outsiders.
Yes,
And
it was.
then-
I
and-
thought about that being on here
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah. But he had such a small part in that.
It was
then-
Endless Love, Taps, Outsiders, Losing. No, Risky Business was right before it. Oh, same year. Losing It, Risky Business, and All the Right Moves, same year.
Yeah.
Oh, and The Outsiders. Jesus Christ, he was working that year, huh?
He was busy.
And it wasn't that risky. We're the worst. All right. So go ahead with
right.
what you were saying there.
All right. No, I'm done. I'm done on it. I mean, I've said my piece. Is it a worthy number one for Tom Cruise? I don't know. But it was definitely in my top 5, so that's why I interjected it in there.
Yeah. I like the pick. I do. I wish I would have. I like that none of us said Days of Thunder, which seems to be a cult classic these days. But I barely remember it. Also, Nicole Kidman.
Right.
That's why you don't like it.
No. And the other issue I have with Days of Thunder is it's too cliche. Everything is exactly how you would expect it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like movies like that.
I don't know. I like a little twist.
Yeah.
All right, so my number one, this one I actually don't care if I catch shit for because to me it means that you didn't catch on to it. And a lot of people skipped over the movie because of the name. And they're like, how can a white guy be The Last Samurai? But The Last Samurai is a phenomenal movie. It's for sure my number one. But he actually, in the movie, a lot of people misconstrue it. He is not the last samurai. The last samurai is the guy that basically held him captive for a little while, and then he became part of the group. But the guy that led that, he was the last samurai. Tom Cruise was not the last samurai.
So I'm so glad you picked this because funny story about it. Not funny, but I was a holdout on this movie for a long time.
I was too.
Because I was like, no, I'm not watching it. Tom Cruise, Last Samurai? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, he can't be the last samurai. He's a white guy.
Yeah. And then when I finally succumbed and said, all right, I'm going to watch it, I really loved it.
Yeah.
And it's an honorable mention of mine, so it takes another one off my list. Yeah. It's one of those where you were like, you wouldn't think it would be a good movie, but it's phenomenal.
It's really good.
Yeah.
It's actually I was the same way as you, and like I said, the reason is because I was like, Tom Cruise cannot be the last samurai. He's a white guy. That's fucking absurd. Yeah. Then when you watch the movie, as long as you pick up on it, you realize he's not the last samurai. The other guy who I want to know that actor's name because he was phenomenal in it. Are you on it now? No. Okay, go. Where is he? Who's that top guy? That's not him, is it? Yeah, that is it. Yeah, that's it. Katsumoto. Ken.
Oh, yeah, he's excellent in it. He's phenomenal.
Yeah, his name is literally Ken Wannabe.
And that's true. We're not making that up.
That's not. His name is Ken Wannabe. But he did an amazing job in that movie. This movie really, I can't really tell you why, but it really struck a chord with me, and I fell in love with it immediately. Yeah. As soon as I watched it, I own it on Blu-ray. I still watch it every time it comes on. I'll still throw it in randomly. But it's about a guy, Tom Cruise, plays a soldier from the, I don't know what to call the battles, but basically during the Indian Native American frontier days, he fought in those battles. And so they recruit him to train Japanese or Chinese soldiers, right after Japanese opens up its gates to the rest of the world, basically. And they want to teach him, to teach their soldiers the American way of fighting with guns and things like that in order to actually overthrow the samurai so that they can have full control over the quote-unquote emperor.
Gotcha.
And he takes the job, but he's a horrible alcoholic, has nightmares from the Native American days, and he ends up getting captured by the samurai in the first battle, which he told them not to fight because the samurai were going to win even though they didn't have guns because they weren't ready. And they capture him. He goes through detox there, and then he starts learning the samurai way, and then he just ends up being on their side pretty much throughout the rest of the movie. Yeah. And it's phenomenal. I really highly recommend people watching it. If you like Shogun, the TV miniseries,
Yep.
you're gonna like this.
Yep.
I will say Shogun's probably a little better.
I highly recommend it too, and I think just like we already expressed, a lot of people will be like, why would I want to watch that? But you will be pleasantly surprised. It's very well done, and it's a great story.
Mm-hmm.
Phenomenal. One of my all-time movies. Honestly, I'm actually surprised I didn't. I just got a text from Carp.
So shockingly, I only have 2 honorable mentions.
I actually have 1, 2.
Jacob?
I have 3 left.
Do you have any?
No.
Okay.
So Jacob, you had 3 Tom Cruise movies?
4.
No, yeah. He had 5 picked out, but one wasn't a Tom Cruise movie.
Thought it was. Thought it was, but it wasn't.
And he said, "Well, that's embarrassing."
And then he was out.
That might have been one of my favorite moments of any podcast. It was,
All right,
you
so
handled it
quickly,
well. You handled it
quickly. Because I feel like one of these for sure nobody is going to know. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. You're going to know because you're a movie nerd like I am.
well. Yeah.
All right. Number 1, Vanilla Sky. So Vanilla Sky is a Tom Cruise movie
It's a weird one.
that is very weird and has Penelope Cruz,
Cameron
Penelope
Diaz.
Ann Cruz, and Cameron Diaz.
Yeah.
And if you're into like a little bit of a different kind of weird twist type of movie, this is your movie.
Yeah. And it's also the movie that made me realize I would switch teams for Penelope
Okay,
Cruz.
easy now. Easy.
I actually want to repeat that because I'm not sure it'll make it on
So,
there. Pam said,
Yeah. So bottom line is
Steve's going to skip over. We're not
bottom
saying it.
line is strange movie, but kind of crazy, well done. I don't know. I really liked it. We liked it. We own it on DVD.
And I would switch teams.
No. My
Steve does not like that part of the story.
You can
my other honorable mention, and this groups several films together,
I'll put it in the Instagram part.
is Mission Impossible.
All
And
of
it
them.
needs to be stated because these films, and I think there's 5, 6, I'm not sure. They're all extremely well done. I think if you're a Mission Impossible fan, I think it lends true to the series. There are some better than others, but overall, very well done and worth mentioning.
I completely agree. We were actually talking about this briefly for a minute before we started, that it's one of those weird that's what I'm looking for. It's one of those weird movie what's a group of movies called? Jesus Christ. Yeah, Penelope Cruz. I get it, Pam. I get it. Where a multiple movie franchises. Thank you. One of the movie franchises that the first one might have actually been the worst one.
Yeah.
Not that it was terrible. It was good. I enjoyed the first Mission Impossible, but it might have
laid
been
the groundwork,
yeah,
for sure.
But it might have been the worst one out of all of them.
Yeah.
Those are all really, really well done. They're action movies, pretty much purely.
Yeah,
The storyline is it's James Bondish.
exactly.
Do you know what I
That's
mean?
exactly what I was thinking of, because it's intelligent action movies.
Correct. Yeah, it's not just a complete shit show. It's not
It's
not
not
Fast
fa-
and Furious. Is that what you were going to say?
It's Fast and Furious 7.
Yeah.
Driving off a cliff.
Yeah, but the car spreads wings and we fly and we're good. But I can't lie, I can't stop watching those fuckers either.
Drinking a 40. Off the cliff.
Drinking a 40, off the cliff, spiral, land on the wheels, we're good. Hey,
Fast and Furious 40.
Hey.
We're only drinking 40s.
hey, John Cena, get in on this shit. I can't stop watching those either. I don't know what it is. The sad part is, for me, the best one of those Fast and Furious movies is what most people won't even watch. It's Tokyo Drift. Doesn't even have Vin Diesel or Paul Walker in it. But I do love the Mission Impossibles, also on my honorable mentions. And then I actually have 2 more. I have Rain Man.
Oh, I love Rain Man. I'm so glad you brought it up. Go
Yeah.
ahead. You go first, and then I'll chime in.
So Rain Man is a story of two brothers. Tom Hanks plays the younger brother.
Dustin Hoffman.
Dustin Hoffman plays the other brother. And
So-
he plays an autistic.
Not Tom Hanks, Tom Cruise.
Did I say Tom Hanks?
Yeah, you did.
Tom Cruise plays the younger brother.
That's a shout out to Mary.
That's a shout out to Mary. Mary Ducker, Valley Wine Cellar. Get your wine on. But yeah, Tom Cruise plays the younger brother. Dustin Hoffman plays the older brother. He's autistic, correct?
Yes.
And he has an incredible counting thing. He can count anything at one point. I think they drop a box of toothpicks, and it's almost like before it hits the ground, he counts how many toothpicks are there, and they actually count them, and it's the right amount.
Yeah.
And Tom Cruise needs something. I can't remember this part. Tom Cruise needs something from Dustin Hoffman, like something for the inheritance or something like that. He has to like form a relationship with him or something. But they go through all this crazy adventure. They do end up forming a relationship. It's a phenomenal movie.
Yeah.
One of the best
Love it.
acting. Dustin Hoffman does one of the best acting performances ever.
I think he won an Oscar for it, but I can't be positive.
He might have. I don't know. See, Dustin. Look up Dustin Hoffman Oscar.
The thing I like about that the most is not only the fact that they go to Vegas and they kill it, is that in Hangover, they mock that scene
When they're coming down the
with
escalator.
Zach Galifianakis.
I forgot about that.
Yes. So there's a scene in Rain Man where they're coming down the escalator, and it's Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman, and he's slightly behind, head tilted because he's autistic. And they go to the tables, and they literally, I don't know how much they won, but they won a lot.
Yeah, a ton of money.
But then they do the exact same thing in Hangover, and to me, it was classic.
It
that
was.
They did that.
I got to tell you, the first podcast we did, you really talked up Hangover, right? And I was on board with it. I remember it being so funny. I loved it. For those of you that haven't realized yet, me and Tommy are basically Jay and Silent Bob in the real world. Me and Tommy are heterosexual life mates. So we drink together most weekends. And one night after we got our drunkenness done, Tommy put on, Jesus, how did I just forget? Hangover. And yes, please. Just so everybody knows, he was handing me the Blantons, and that was a definite yes. So Tommy put on Hangover, and in the first 15 minutes after singing it, I don't know how many times, but it had been a while. In the first 15 minutes, I laughed harder than I have laughed in a while.
Yeah.
Like, it's just so good.
Yeah.
It's so fun. There's only one scene out of the whole movie that I decided I don't like, and it's the scene where they're getting tased. I like the guy.
love that.
I like the cop.
that scene.
I like the cop that plays that guy, but he's too over the top for me in that scene. But when he's in the face, it's like, man, it's a little over the top. But when they go and get their car and they give them the valet ticket, and the cop car pulls up, and they're like, "Here, officers." And then when he walks in to take a piss, and there's the tiger, and he just turns, keeps pissing, even though the toilet's not where it's not there anymore. He's still pissing, staring at the tiger like, holy shit. Dude, that movie is so fucking funny.
Yeah, it really is.
So funny. Like, I appreciated it when you said it, but I have a newfound, again, appreciation for it.
Yeah.
Because it's so fucking good.
It really is.
I will watch that every single time it's on. Every time.
I mean, the things that they come up with in that movie are just crazy. The chicken running across the floor, the tiger in the fucking bathroom. I mean, it's crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
The baby
and then to top it all off, there's a freaking baby in the closet.
He says to Bradley Cooper, he's like, look, and he's like making the baby do a fake jerk off motion. It's like, Jesus Christ. His name's Carlos.
Yeah.
And then when they go to Mike Tyson's house and they're watching the security camera and they're like, tigers are just such majestic animals. They demand respect. And he's like, look at me, I'm fucking this tiger. That movie is fucking absurd in the best way.
Yeah, it really is.
Oh man, so fucking good. Oh, look, and there's the scene you were talking about right there.
Yeah,
so good.
So going back to Rain Man, I'm so glad you chose it as an honorable mention because it needs to be discussed.
It has to be.
And it really is an excellent movie. If you haven't seen it, you need to. Obviously it deals with autism and a family dealing with that, but excellent movie.
Great movie. And then the last one I had, which I think I have on the list, I don't even actually like the movie all that much, but I love the acting performances of the two, in my opinion, lead characters, and that's Interview with a Vampire. I think Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise acted their asses off in that movie.
Yeah. I can't disagree with that one bit.
Like I don't think it's just an incredible movie. It is, if you're into the horror genre and vampires and stuff like that, it is a good one. But I don't think it is just a remarkable movie. But it's a movie that reminded me when I first saw it on there. And I think I said this in one of our other podcasts when we were talking about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, that I just do not think Brad Pitt gets enough recognition, man. He's a phenomenal actor.
Yeah, I'm 100% with you on that. I totally agree. There's very few movies I've seen that he's been in that I didn't like.
Yeah,
or wasn't, maybe I didn't like the movie per se, but he was fantastic in it.
Yeah, he actually has really. I think people get confused. Because was the Hollywood heartthrob for so long that they forget how good of an actor he is.
Yep.
Because his timing is impeccable. Whether it's comedy, drama, or whatever, his timing is just on point. It's something somebody taught him very fucking well.
Just a couple other, I'm gonna throw them out there just because they were on the list, but didn't make my honorable mentions. But I'm gonna throw them out. Born on the 4th of July.
Yep.
Phenomenal acting job he did on that.
Yeah.
True story. Really, really good movie. We already mentioned a little bit Days of Thunder.
Yeah.
Just, for me, too corny. You said Legend, didn't you?
No, nobody did. That is such an icon of a movie for so many people, but to me, the corniness factor took it out for me.
Right.
But it is an iconic movie, without a doubt.
Not as crazy about this movie, but Minority Report.
It was pretty good.
Yeah, not bad.
I think an underrated movie by him is Oblivion?
Yeah.
I think it's a crazy movie.
Yeah.
I want to watch it again. I just recently heard people talking about it.
I feel like I only like that movie because of black actor, freckles. God, I can't think.
Morgan Freeman.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Pam is laughing that he couldn't think of Morgan Freeman.
Any movie Morgan Freeman is in, I love.
And you got to think that I agreed with Morgan Freeman. I love Morgan Freeman.
And we kind of touched on a little
Lean
bit.
on Me.
Yeah. And we kind of touched on a little bit tonight, but also an awesome movie. But Tom Cruise only played a very small role in it. Taps. Taps is spectacular.
That's another one I have to watch again.
Yeah.
That's another one I have to watch again. I did have a couple of other things. One, I think, again, that was one of the top fives. I think that was awesome. I think that was good. Jacob.
I think it'll go down as a very good top 5.
Yeah,
I really do.
Yeah, I think it's going to be good to go into some of the actor-specific ones.
I like the idea of the actor-specific ones.
Yeah.
I really do.
I like that a lot.
Think about it. Bruce Willis,
Al Pacino, Robert De Niro,
Kevin Costner.
Kevin Costner. They're all going to be 3 hours long.
Brad Pitt.
We should do a Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt is going to be the next one because I've been giving him all this love. Brad Pitt's going to be the next one. Jacob, I like that you were involved in this one too.
And he could get involved with Brad Pitt.
Oh yeah,
he's young enough.
He can get involved with all of them. Yeah, Brad Pitt you can definitely get involved with.
He
right?
cannot get involved in Al Pacino. He's not going to be able to.
It'll be hard for him to keep up.
Or Robert De Niro. Robert De Niro would be like, Fockers 1, 2, and 3.
Start brushing up. I did have a couple of other things on here I did want to talk about. I'm going to leave the serious one alone. I told you about it. We were going to talk about the slow reopen of business. You know what? Fuck off. Let's let it be. I did want to get into, have you watched The Gentleman yet?
I have not.
Oh.
So I want to.
My God.
I want to. So you like it that much?
One of the best movies I've seen in a long time.
Really?
Yes. Without a doubt. Without question.
Right. Well, we're watching it.
Yeah. I would
tonight.
I would just buy it. Like it's I rented it and watched it, and I'm gonna buy it. Even though it's not a movie that's made for 4K, like doesn't have the explosions or all that. I'm gonna buy it on 4K because it deserves that much respect.
Wow. Well, I love Matthew McConaughey, and I know there's other really good actors in it. So I'm glad to hear it because I've seen it a few times and I'm thinking, maybe we get it, maybe we rent it, maybe not. So,
but you know who I don't think is typically that great of an actor? I think he does some things well, but he steals the show in this is Colin Farrell. Steals the show. Him and Hugh Grant, actually.
Really?
The two of them steal the fucking show.
Wow.
And I'm a massive Matthew McConaughey fan. I think he does well too, but those two steal the fucking show.
Nice. Can't wait to see it.
Yeah, it's about an American who takes over the marijuana business in the UK. Also, Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
So Snatch, Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. Have you seen those?
Yep.
It goes back to his roots of those movies. It's so fucking good.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. I was nervous about watching it because I'm such a big Matthew McConaughey fan, and I didn't hear too much hype around it. And when I watched it, I was like, this is one of the best movies I've seen in a long time.
Wow.
Without a doubt.
Good to know.
And then have you been you're a basketball fan.
Yes.
Have you been watching The Last Dance?
Absolutely.
Holy shit.
Yeah. Listen, they have done it so well. And the thing I love about it most is the fact that it is unfiltered. So when they're interviewing Michael Jordan or Isaiah Thomas or whoever else it is, whatever they say
is there,
right?
Yeah.
And it's extremely well done. I think it's great that they're putting I don't know if it was done that they put these out early because of everybody being under
right.
Well,
So smart though.
I think regardless, they would not have done 2 episodes every week if it wasn't for this.
Right.
I think it would have been 1 episode a week for
Yeah. So I'm a huge fan. I grew up during that time, and it's kind of cool for me to be able to watch it, especially with my one son who's an enormous basketball fan and good in his own right. He couldn't wait to watch it.
It's incredible.
And we're watching it together, so that's really cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I have to say, Jordan was always the number 1 on my list, but this reminded me of why so far.
Yeah.
Like, it's unbelievable. Like, even the parts where you're like, wow, he's kind of a dick. Like, well, that's what made him fucking great.
Right. And the other thing I love that this brings out is, is LeBron James one of the best ever? Absolutely. But does he hold a candle to Michael Jordan? I don't think so. And I think this is for the newer...
I don't think he does.
No. And for the newer generation to see this, I believe they'll realize, like, well, yeah, no, he's not as good as Michael Jordan. I mean, you're talking about a guy that literally took a city who was on the dumps.
Yeah.
And
nothing was going right.
Brought them back
economically.
And I mean, I know that sounds crazy, but it's true.
It's 100% true. And here's the thing that I realized from watching it too is if he hadn't have taken that hiatus, they probably would have that team probably would have went 8-0 in championships.
Yeah, I know.
8-0. That's insane.
And he's probably got a look
LeBron's
back.
got 3.
And that's why I can't wait to see like episode 9 and 10 to see if they address that subject.
Right.
Like, hey, what do you think would have happened if you would have never left?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you could see that he had so much on his shoulders. Maybe he just needed it for his own personal well-being.
Yeah.
Like he needed a break.
Well, and I saw this thing. Somebody posted this on Facebook today, and it's like it's not a meme because it's not funny, but it's a picture with some words on it. It's Michael Jordan, and it says, "If you want rings, look at Bill Russell. If you want stats, look at LeBron. If you want MVPs, look at Kareem. If you want records, look at Wilt. If you want dominance, look at Shaq. If you want dunks, look at Vince. If you want intensity, look at Kobe. If you want all of that, look at MJ."
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
it. That's it.
For sure.
To me, that's definitely what makes him the GOAT. That's like the perfect way to sum it up. He's got literally all of those,
Yep.
while some people have 1 or maybe 2.
Yeah.
He's got all of them.
One of the shows I wanted to add in tonight for anybody that's looking for something to start that they haven't, it's on Netflix. It's called Peaky Blinders.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
I've already blown through that. When that new season came on, I blew right through it.
Yeah.
Did you just start it?
I did. Oh, 3 episodes. I'm only 3 episodes in.
Oh, my God. It's so good.
It's really good.
Yeah,
Really good.
it's really good. There was actually somebody who made I saw somebody talking about it today, and they asked if they should start Peaky Blinders or Boardwalk Empire. Did you watch that?
No.
I tried to watch Boardwalk Empire, and I know people love it. I couldn't get into it. I watched maybe 5 episodes, couldn't get into it. Peaky Blinders, I blow through.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Very good.
Yeah.
Highly recommend.
Highly, highly recommend. And I also that, what's his name? I don't know how to say that. Cillian Murphy, the guy who plays Thomas Shelby.
Yeah.
What a phenomenal acting job.
Oh, he's amazing.
The women love him because of his looks, but man, he can act his ass off.
Oh,
I
yeah.
was really surprised by this because I've seen him in small roles and random things. Like
And
he was
he
in the
was-
Batman movies, Scarecrow.
He was. And he was also in Inception and played it.
Oh yeah,
perfectly.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does a phenomenal job in it. Whoever plays is Arthur Shelby, so Paul Anderson, his brother, also phenomenal. I can't
Yeah.
wait for you to get into that. That's great.
Well,
It's so
I'm
good.
looking forward to it.
The worst part about it is when you get to the point where there's nothing else to watch, and you're like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Like, put the other one on already." Hey, you know who makes an appearance in that? I bet you he has not yet for where you're at, but is Tom Hardy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
I'm a big Tom Hardy fan.
Yeah, I love Tom Hardy.
Did you ever watch his? It only ended up having 1 season, but it was phenomenal fucking TV. And they keep saying maybe they'll bring it back, but it looks like it's canceled. Taboo.
No.
Check if you can find it on one of the streaming services. Check that out.
So one of my go-to movies that I think I'd recommend anybody to see, and you probably will only want to see it once, maybe twice, is The Revenant.
Yo, yeah.
And Tom Hardy is unbelievable in that
Phenomenal.
movie. But my issue with that movie is not because it's not a great movie. It's just so brutal.
Oh,
The bear scene with
It's insane.
Leonardo. Oh, I mean, it's like you think, well, Leonardo. Leonardo DiCaprio. I've had a little bit of bourbon tonight.
I don't know.
Easy, take it easy on me.
I don't know if it's the bourbon or the fact that it's not the weekend.
Yeah, a little bit of both. Anyhow, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Leonardo DiCaprio. That scene where the bear just tears him apart. It's like, it's so real. I'm like, okay, well, he's dead.
Yeah. No way he's not dead. Also a true story.
Yeah.
Crazy. Actually, I'm going to maybe appease you with this. I'm very sad that I didn't put this movie in my top 5 sports movies because it's probably in the top 3, and I'm going to replace Mighty Ducks right now.
Oh, you see what's happening here right now. All right, go ahead. Go ahead, replace it. He's trying to save face. It's okay.
Warrior.
Oh, I love Warrior.
So good.
Yes.
Tom Hardy. I forget the one guy's name. But it's also got Nick Nolte, who I think had one of the performances of his career in that movie. He played Tom Hardy and the other guy's dad. His name is Joel. What is his name? Joel Edgerton. Joel Edgerton. Yep. Joel Edgerton, Tom Hardy, Nick Nolte. You've seen this?
Yes.
Oh man, I love it.
Yeah.
I'm a big MMA fan, so
yeah.
that's part of it. But it's just a phenomenally well done movie, and Tom Hardy is fucking intense in it.
Yeah, he's intense to begin with. I mean, he's amazing. He really is.
He is. When you see him in a lighter role, you're like, hold on,
wait,
what?
When are you going to start killing people?
You're an intense
Aren't you going to skin somebody?
Yeah. Did you see his movie where he plays two roles, him and his twin brother, and they're English gangsters?
Yes.
So good. I forget what the name of it is. Such a good movie. Oh, man. All right, brother. Well, you got anything else for us?
I don't.
No? Good to go?
I'm getting the evil eye.
Well, I'm going to be honest
Or
with
the
you.
stink eye. The brown eye.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. We're going to go ahead and call this a podcast, but we may have another bourbon or two once we get done.
Maybe. Jimmy got the buzz. Baby. What's wrong? What's wrong with him? Maybe. He drinks so much bourbon.
Man, people probably do think we're crazy alcoholics.
Why is he drinking so much bourbon?
Why do they only drink bourbon? There's other stuff. Don't they like beer?
What's wrong with them?
Haven't they ever seen a bottle of wine?
My God.
I don't understand what's happening.
They're so disgusting.
Don't they know that's just straight liquor?
He looks so disgusting.
They can't even see us.
He smells like cheese.
He smells like cheese and alcohol.
Cheese and alcohol. Sad.
This is the Gathering of Fools. We're out.